Alrighty then, we are live. We are live. 1 second. Yeah, we're live. Hang on. Right, okay, cool. Sorry about that. Fucking hell, we're live. What's up, Jacob? How you doing, mate? Yeah, man, I thought, fuck it. Why not fire up a live stream on a Thursday night? 2 days before the biggest heavyweight fight of the year, David Allen versus Arslanbek Makhmudov in Sheffield. What a fight we have to look forward to there. But now I was kind of bored, mate, honestly. I was kind of bored, so I thought I've got a bit of spare time, which is something I don't usually have, so why not fire up a live stream? And I would say talk about boxing, but, you know, like I've been insinuating recently, it feels like boxing right now is just dead. You know, there's a week where a lot happens, like Crawford-Canelo, where we had Crawford-Canelo, we had the undercard, we had Inoue versus MJ, etc. Big weekend. Since then, nothing's happened. A month later, nothing's happened. You know, it feels like boxing at the moment is all or nothing, and we're in a period of nothing. So yeah, boxing for me right now is taking a back burner, to tell you the truth. Boxing's taking a back burner. But, you know, boxing's boxing. You know, I'm always going to have an interest in boxing because, you know, the world is very serious right now. And once you lose your hobbies, interests and playful side, you know, that's when I think you become what you despise in the world. You know, like I said, when you lose curiosity, when you lose that sense of play, that's when, you know, this world has chewed you up and spat you out. And no matter what faith you pertain to, you're done, as far as I'm concerned. So you got to have your fucking little vices, you got to have your interests, things that take your mind away from what is going on in the world. That doesn't mean that you're blind to what is going on in the world. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I try and hold my interests, I try to maintain hobbies. It's hard, you know, it's very hard, because there are such important things going on in the world, but yeah, I try and maintain that playful side, you know? Fucking hell, getting philosophical already. Will Pacquiao get stopped by Rolly Romero? Possibly. I think Pacquiao versus Barrios was what it was. It looked like a work to me. It looked like a glorified sparring session. As we would expect, Pacquiao first couple of rounds looked a little bit explosive, looked a little bit quick, looked fresh. After the first couple of rounds, it looked like Barrios was just kind of carrying him for me. You know, that's what it looked like to me, personally. You know, maybe I'm discrediting Manny Pacquiao, but I mean, I got so much respect for Pacquiao, one of the greatest of all time, but it's sad to see, man. It's sad to see. Yeah, I think Pacquiao, we all know Pacquiao's very charitable with his money, heavily involved in politics, which I'm sure isn't cheap. You know, he does a lot with his money, and it can only go so far. Got a lot of people around him, so you do wonder. Plus, there was the tax issues throughout his career. Early on in his career, before he found God, you know, there was gambling, etc. He's always struck me as that sort of guy who's not exactly been maybe cautious with his money, you know? Yeah, I am, bro. Can't believe it's come to that, mate. Can't believe it's come to that. Yeah, Jim, bro, yeah. I see the news about Gatti's son, man. Just dying alone in Mexico, 17 years old, in his apartment. Yeah, it's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. So, from when I last checked, bro, the Neanderthal he was evens at one point in time against Dave Allen. I think that's where the money is. I would lump on Makhmudov because it's Dave Allen. It's Dave Allen. Like, can you count on this guy? Would I lay my money and faith in this guy. No, I wouldn't. I'd rather fucking take a fucking lighter and burn it. You know? I don't trust Dave Allen. Johnny Fisher is not Makhmudov. Dave Allen is not Caballel, and he's not even Villanello. Dave Allen would get outboxed by Villanello, as far as I'm concerned. Comfortably. Comfortably, you know? He's lost to two guys, Makhmudov, who are leagues above Dave Allen, in my opinion. Could Dave Allen land a shot or gas out Makhmudov? Listen, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not totally writing him off, maybe, but I think all the evidence points to Makhmudov walks him down, grinds him down, stops him. What's up, your old da? How you doing? Yeah, man, I'm just stopping smoking tobacco. So I'm on these shitty little fucking vapes, innit? I don't think that's the way it's going to end for me anyway, but it's money more than anything. You know, smoking tobacco is very expensive. Because I was low-key thinking to myself, yeah, I need to stop smoking because of health, you know, the health side of things. But a couple of weeks ago, I did a 4-mile run. And considering I've not really exercised recently, I smashed it quite well. So I feel like, listen, lung cancer's not the way it's going to end for me. Lung cancer's not the way it's going to end. This whole vaping thing is purely money. It's purely saving money. Do you know what I mean? You're lumping it on Arsenal bet. I would do the same. If I'm a betting man, I don't usually bet. In fact, I forgot the last time I bet. I forgot. Yeah, it's crazy, Nordic. Like, the odds are very close. For knocking out Johnny Fisher, a guy who is just about area level. That's Johnny Fisher's level. He's a big, strong rugby player who's done a bit of boxing. That's what he is. And to get to area level at heavyweight, that's all you really need to be, as a strong lump. That's it. And by the way, like, the first fight was close. I felt Allen won, but it was competitive. And even in the second fight, Allen was losing rounds to this guy. If you have any sort of output, you're going to win rounds against Dave Allen. Dave Allen has slow feet. He's going to invite Makhmudov onto him, and then he's going to soak up what he has to offer. Can Dave Allen soak up that punishment? That's what it's going to come down to. Can he soak up that power from Makhmudov? If he can, he's got a chance. I don't think he will. Personally. What's up, Lee Talks Boxing? How you doing, man? Dave Allen, shades of Mike Tyson. Bro, shades of diabetes. Makhmudov just stands too still for me, worries me. Yeah, he's very... one thing about Allen I will give him credit for, he is sneaky. He can throw in between punches. But there's such long spells where he does nothing. That's when Makhmudov's going to walk onto him, tee off on him, you know, club him away, club. All these shots are not going to be landing clean, but they're going to be taking something out of Allen. You know, it's not like Allen exchanges every single time he can. He really does pick his moments. He's too economical. You're saying Dave Allen gets pulled out after the 5th, after taking a pasting. He'll probably throw about 3 punches around. Yeah, exactly. And also, does he have the mentality to be headlining a show in a fight in which is basically being marketed as his redemption arc? It's almost like his second coming out party kind of thing. Does he have that mentality to get the job done? Does he have the bottle? I don't know. I don't think so, personally. Who do you think has eaten more? Chinese Zhili Zhang or Fisher Senior? Well, Fisher Senior. Yeah, bro, listen, nicotine is what it is, man. Nicotine is what it is. Like I said, it is what it is. It's my only vice. Like, I've stopped fucking drinking. It's my only vice, man. I gotta have something. And caffeine as well. I do like my caffeine. I'm drinking coffee right now. Late at night. It's not late at night, but you know what I mean. Dave Allen's actually coming in shape. Maybe he's going on a redemption arc. Well, we'll see, mate. I'll believe it when I see it. It's going to be like the Ortiz fight, but quicker. Yeah, he was a good amateur. Yeah, he was more technical in the amateurs, used his jab a lot more. But his style's completely changed in the pros. Yeah, he doesn't lead with his jab anymore. Rarely. When he does, it's like a pouring jab to set up like the right uppercut or the overhand right. He doesn't really use that jab as a way to maintain range or box. He just looks for a way to land his big clubbing shots. And the jab is usually thrown to land those big clubbing shots, to set him up. Yeah, I think Ortiz now is definitely in his 50s. Do you think Allen's telling the truth about his training regimen? I know you think he's manipulative, but I personally think he would beat Usyk. Do I think he's telling the truth? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't really care, man. I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Again, he can, I'll believe it when I see it. And it's gonna, and by the way, I won't take back anything I said about Dave Allen if he wins this fight. I'll give him credit for winning because it's a fight I picked him to lose in, but I wouldn't go any further than that. I wouldn't go any further. Saying, how he's this redeemed guy, it's a one-off occasion as far as I'm concerned. Until I see him string results together, not even results, but string multiple examples of professionalism together, then until then, I'm not going to give this guy any credit. Certified Dave Allen hater. What's up, G-Man? How you doing, my man? Hopefully you're well, bro. Hopefully you're keeping well. G-Man's looking jacked in that picture. He's looking in shape. He's looking in shape. Dave Allen, in his own mind, believes he could outbox Usyk like he could outbox Clark and Price, yeah. The owners of the Chinese restaurant that Big John Fisher orders from, imagine what their ancestors who endured the Great Leap Forwards would think of that glutton. Bro. Bro, his diet, his intake in a week could feed a village in China for circa quarter of a year. Crazy. Now that is G-Man. That is G-Man. Makhmudov looks like a troll. He does a bit. He's a strange looking character. He seems like a nice guy, to be fair to him. Makhmudov. Seems like a nice guy. If you looked like him, you'd probably be an arsehole, but he seems alright. He seems alright. I don't rate Allen, but Makhmudov for me is shocking. For me it's 50-50. Both would beat me, but I reckon give me a big stick and I beat both. No, I give him credit if he wins, because it's a fight that I'm picking him to lose. I'll give him credit in that sense, but what I'm saying is I won't give him credit. I won't give him the credit of being a changed fighter. You got to do more than a one-off for me. He beat Johnny Fisher, a world-level prospect. If Dave Allen wins, will you quit vaping? And when he beats Usyk to become undisputed, what will you do? Listen, if Dave Allen becomes undisputed heavyweight champion, then there truly is hope for us all. We can actually achieve whatever we want in life. If Dave Allen wins the unified, undisputed heavyweight titles, we can actually achieve anything. There's no stopping us. You can become an astronaut, you can become a physicist, a fucking whatever you want to be. He's a new man, you're just a hater. I am a certified Dave Allen hater. No, I don't hate the guy, I just don't like him. There's a difference. I don't like the guy though, personally. Do you prefer the taste and feel of vapes? No, I don't. I don't. But it does the nicotine job, and it kind of replicates smoking a little bit. If Dave Allen beats Usyk, I'll give up Iron Brew. That's a safe bet because it's never going to happen. I'd bet my life on him not fucking becoming beating Usyk. Makhmudov's a bully type fighter, that's true, yeah. Big, strong and hard-hitting, but slow, clumsy and gases. I think Allen has a decent chance if he takes the shots and catches him when gassing. Yeah, that's what his chance is, right? He needs to withstand that early pressure. He needs to withstand it. Get on the Zyn, it's less gay than vaping. Zyn is just there. Maybe I should, bro. Maybe I should, but it's not really that, man. It's more so cost I'm thinking of. Yeah. Dave seems to crave sympathy by acting simple. That's what I don't like about the guy, honestly. It's the manipulative kind of facade he puts on. I could be wrong, man. Maybe that's genuinely him, but like I think there's like a level of manipulation there that a lot of people don't see, and I'm not trying to say I'm Nostradamus, but I feel like in that aspect of life I'm pretty good at judging people's character. And I feel like he's not the type of guy to stab you in the back as such. I don't think he's that sort of guy. But I think he's the sort of guy, the sort of person who would guilt trip you into doing things for him. You know, there's those people in life. They'll kind of try and trauma. I guess it's what's the fucking, what do the kids call it? Trauma bombing or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they call it these days. Snus is the most cost-effective way from my experience anyway. Yeah, I'm not getting on that. Yeah, Zin is gay as fuck, isn't it? Zin. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's that, you know, if you're not complimentary 100% of the time about somebody, you're a hater in this generation. People don't know what hate is, honestly. People don't know what hate is. Language has been bastardized, it truly has. I could say 9 positive things about a fighter and 1 negative thing and I'm a hater. Yeah, that's it, Nordic. He's not, I don't think he's that extreme, but he's of that kind of psychological archetype. Basically. Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Trauma dump, yeah, trauma dump. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I don't know all this modern lingo, man. I don't even know about this modern lingo, but yeah. I never really clocked for manipulation until you mentioned it. I think you're definitely right. I could be wrong, but that's the vibe I get from Dave Allen. And again, he may not be like, I don't think he's consciously like a nasty, vindictive person. But I just think there's like an underlying psychological, don't know whether you'd call it a disorder, a deficiency, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think, listen, I don't think he's going to be the type of guy, like I said, who's going to stab you in the back or be, like, outwardly nasty or anything like that. Konstantin Doboshenko, the best active journeyman in the world, stops Jalolov. Bro, Jalolov he looks awful. Fucking Uzbek, Audley Harrison, he looks dreadful. He should retire now. His heart clearly isn't in it. You know, he was fighting that short-ass Russian dude the other day. That 6'1" maybe, looked like a cruiserweight, 0 power, and he was still getting roughed up. It looked like he got dropped as well, by the way. He's going to get knocked out when he steps up. He's going to get knocked out. Even a guy like Richard Torres, who I think, obviously, in the amateurs, Jalolov was a level above Torres. He knocked him out brutally in one fight and beat him in the Olympics on points. But in the pros, I think Torres beats Jalolov, from what I've seen. Unless he needs like a step up, but I don't think he's that sort of guy, man. I think he's just rubbish, I'll be honest. Imagine hating a boxer you've never met. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of boxers I dislike, whether it be their style, their persona, but hate is a strong word. I hate a guy like Carlos Baldemir, who's a nonce. But yeah, aside from that, say one nice thing about Dave Allen, he's got a hell of a chin. He's got a good chin. He's durable. Good one, Jake. Getting trolled already. Allen's never been world level. He was making David Price look like Vladimir Klitschko. Being in shape, however, gives you a better chance. That at least shows he's trying. And God loves someone who tries. That's true. That is true, yeah. Listen, I hope he has trained hard. I hope he has, because if he has cut corners, you know, it's the type of fight where you can get hurt. You know? He's a manic depressive. Boxing is just another way to punish himself. A proper man's man. He's not, man. He's a fighting man. Yeah, all I'm going to say is, if you've had a full training camp and a nutritionist, you shouldn't be around the same weight as the last Fisher fight. Yeah, because that's what he's saying. He's saying he's like 6 or 7 pounds lighter from the last Fisher fight. So, God knows. God knows. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, some fighters do suit the amateurs. Maybe they don't have a natural stamina to like compete in the pros. Maybe they don't have the toughness, etc. The athleticism, you know, there are certain styles that are definitely suited to the amateurs, like that point scoring fencing type of style. And that's what Jalolov seems to have reverted to as a pro. If you look at Jalolov's earlier pro fights, he was sitting down on his punches a lot more. Having said that, he was fighting bums, so who knows. Yeah, Jalolov said he had herpes before pulling out a fight a couple of months ago. Did he actually? Did he actually? That's hilarious if true. Fucking hell. Maybe that's why he's been sucking. Dave blames his bad shape on genetics when there's pics of him with a six-pack a while back. Yeah, 100%. He's a strong dude, man, Dave Allen. Just lazy, I think. Yeah, guys like Carlos Baldemir and Tony Bellew are an exception. Yeah, we got to put Bellew in there as well. Yeah, Alex Pereira looked good. I do think the stoppage was a little early in that UFC fight. I did watch it. I watched it back the next day. Will you smile and order a Chinese if a Chechen Neanderthal splatters Dave Allen? I won't order anything, but I'll smile. I'll smile. I might even do a live commentary just for shits and giggles. I don't know yet. Gonna throw a Talma in there with Hughie Fury, apparently. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, they may as well just have taken the Frank Sanchez fight in that case, if that's the alternative. So they avoid Frank Sanchez in an IBF final eliminator to fight Hughie Fury. Come on now. No interest in that fight whatsoever. You know there's still some mongs online who say Hughie's like this untapped he's got this untapped potential. He can outbox everybody. He's a wonderful boxer. He sucks, man. He's a spoiler. Hughie Fury's a good spoiler. Or he was. I don't even know if he can do that anymore because of all his illnesses, but prime Hughie Fury, whatever that was a good spoiler with a good chin. He couldn't box that well, piss weak jab, couldn't throw a right hand, couldn't turn his punches over. He was awful technically, but he was awkward. So many revisionists. There's some weird Fury fans out there, man, honestly. He's only 30, yeah, bro. He's only 30, he's a baby. He hasn't got his man strength yet. But fucking, honestly, there's still people out there who believe in Hughie Fury. Yeah, Dave Allen definitely drew a six-pack on and took a straightforward pick. You know that side profile's no bueno. Yeah, it looks awful, bro. Looks awful. You know, I'm going to steal the Wardley Parker fight instead. I do like that fight, by the way, Wardley Parker. I think that's one of the better fights on the upcoming schedule. I think that's a good fight. But it shouldn't be pay-per-view. It's criminal, honestly. Okay, so Sanchez is going to fight Dubois. Oh, no, I saw that. Yeah, I did see that. Apparently in an eliminator. Why is Dubois getting another eliminator, by the way? Why is Dubois getting another eliminator? It's crazy. Can completely see Sanchez beating a Talma, to be honest. I mean, it depends what Sanchez turns up. If it's the same one from the Caballel fight, then no. But again, I really do think he was injured. He was moving so gingerly in that fight, honestly. I'm convinced he was injured in that fight. Yeah, Hughie Fury never threw real punches. He couldn't throw real punches. He couldn't throw a right hand. He couldn't throw a left hook. He throws a flick jab. Always amazes me that those blessed with the best frames for fighting like Valiev and Makhmudov are trash at fighting. God had to nerf them. I mean, Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko, you know, there's guys out there who have had really good frames and could fight. Yeah, bro. Huey looks like he's been through the ringer. Honestly. You wonder whether he should even box anymore, honestly, considering all the health issues he's had. You wonder whether he should even box anymore. And Valuev, yeah, Valuev did okay. He wasn't great, but he did okay. He did okay. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Every time Huey truly stepped up, he lost. Parker, Pulev, and Povetkin beat him, yeah. And people tried to make out like the Parker fight was a robbery. It wasn't. Parker clearly won. Clearly won. Yeah, that fucking prancing, dancing style, that looks rubbish. Yeah, awful to watch. So Dubois gets the eliminator because Moses turns it down. Okay, cool. Maybe that's a ploy by Frank Warren, you know. It keeps his guys in the mix. You know, Frank still has a hold on the heavyweight division despite not having a champion. So he can continue to develop a Talma and he gets Dubois another shot. After Huey Fury takes out a Talma and Dave Allen knocks out the Neanderthal in one round, that's the obvious eliminator for the title shot at Undisputed, in my opinion. Bosh! What's up, Quags? How you doing, man? Yeah, Valuev had a decent chin. Did he have a granite chin? Maybe. He had a good chin. Yeah, listen, bro. I thought Parker fucking clearly won. Huey Fury's best win is for Great Fred Cassie. You're probably right, bro. Maybe a washed-up Marius Vac. A washed-up Christian Hammer. That's the level we're talking about. Fucking Sam Sexton. These sort of guys, honestly. But for years, man, people were telling me about how good Huey Fury was. And honestly, it's like, I think there's a bias in boxing among boxing fans. If they see a fighter move a little bit and you know, prance around, they think they're automatically more skilled. Boxing fans have been conditioned to believe that back foot fighting and passive fighting is the be-all and end-all in boxing. Hence why, that's the only reason why anybody would rate Huey Fury, because anybody who knows anything about boxing knows Huey Fury is trash. If you can't throw a right hand, you're fucking rubbish. If you can't throw a left hook and turn your knuckles over, you're rubbish. Just a spoiler, I think Ben Davison beats Huey Fury. He's probably shot now as well, Huey Fury. Honestly. Oh god, can you imagine that fight? Huey Fury versus Otto Wallin. Imagine. They could play that fight out 100 times and it would never be entertaining. Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's basically it, yeah. Huey had the benefit of Tyson paving the way, nepotism, yeah. Listen, he seems like a nice kid. But he's just not good to watch. Listen, I've been to a lot of Chinese restaurants and I've never seen a Chinese man as big as Zhang. Yeah, he's a big lump. I'd like to see him back, though. I know he got splattered in his last fight, but chuck him in there with somebody. Chuck him in there. I want to see him back. Yeah, boxing fans on Twitter would claim they enjoyed Fury versus Wallin. Yeah, oh, the class. Technical boxing. Can you imagine? Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's only because he's a Fury, yeah. Bro. Yeah, Zhili Zhang, man. He's probably a megastar in China, honestly. He's probably a megastar. But I'd like to see him back, man. Just chuck him in there with a well-matched heavyweight, a puncher, have a shootout. Get him in there with another big puncher. Honestly, if Makhmudov beats Dave Allen, Makhmudov versus Zhang, good fight. Boxing fans on Twitter say that Tank Davis knocks out Duran. Man's got Jake Paul problems. Yeah, I just don't even like talking about Tank Davis personally, honestly. Don't like talking about him. He's a waste of time. Celebrity boxer. That's what he is really, you know. I want to see Hughie Fury versus Okolie, so we don't need to see two separate fights in December. Is Okolie fighting in December as well then? Oh, Christ. Yeah, bro. I can't imagine that fight would ever be real, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe it's a humiliation ritual for one of them. Who knows, man? Fuck knows. Also, Gili opened his own restaurant in New York. Did he actually? Could be a CCP like operation, like an intelligence gathering operation. Hughie versus Otto Wallin, £80 pay-per-view at Wembley. Yeah, I don't like Tank Davis. I don't think he's even relevant enough to hate, though, honestly. He's not relevant, really, in boxing. He's not relevant. Without a Ryan Garcia or a guy like that, he's not relevant. And obviously he's fighting Jake Paul. In terms of, like, serious boxing circles, he's not relevant. He's relevant in terms of, like, you know, he's in a big fight, I guess, but... Yeah, he is, yeah. Paul is massive compared to Tank. Yeah. Fucking Netflix special. Yeah, exactly. Another Lun Feng. Otto versus Hughie would be comedy gold. They're two fighters I'd never want to see again. Honestly. If those two were fighting in my street, I wouldn't fucking go out to watch. I'd throw cold water on them and tell them to clear off. Tell him to clear off, honestly. Zhili Zhang gathering intelligence at his Harlem takeaway on behalf of the CCP. Yeah, I saw this, yeah. Danny Garcia has put his final fight on pay-per-view and a big arena in Brooklyn. He has only sold like 200 tickets according to Ticketmaster. Yeah, I don't know who's going to buy the pay-per-view, yeah. Listen, he deserves his farewell fight, but that's criminal. Having, you know, to be fair to Danny Garcia though, low-key, he's been a bit underrated. He's had some bad performances, but I think overall, Danny Garcia had a pretty good career. Kind of an underrated fighter. You know, when he was taking it seriously, he was a good fighter, Danny Garcia. He was a good fighter. Good fighter, some good wins, some good solid wins. The Khan win, obviously, is one that stands out, but the Lucas Matisse fight was probably his finest moment, I would say. Because most people, including myself, I'm not going to deny it, I was picking Matisse to beat Danny Garcia. And most people were. Like, Matisse was a fair favourite going into that fight, if my memory serves me correct. But Danny Garcia had a decent career overall. Yeah, he ducked some fighters here and there, no doubt, but had a decent career. Smooth Critical. I remember the name, Shane. I do remember the name. Yeah, I hope Zhang comes back as well. Good fights for him like Makhmudov if he wins, like you say. I'd pick Zhang in that fight. Better boxer early on and probably tougher. Yeah, Zhang's head is big. Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah, I was picking Lucas, bro. I thought he would soak up what Danny had to offer and kind of like outwork him. Maybe even stop him late. But one thing about Danny Garcia, had a very good chin in his prime. Danny Garcia might have had the best chin in and around welterweight at that time period. From 140 to 147 in Danny's prime, probably had the best chin, honestly. Had a very good chin, Danny Garcia. And I think, yeah, overall, decent career, Danny Garcia. In fact, he might be a guy I do a career review for. Honestly. Because, like, you know, his last fight is coming up. Yeah, that was always... That was satisfying. Zhili Zhang splattering Wilder. That was satisfying. He did it for China. He did it for China. There we go. Boom. I always think of Smooth Critical singing along to Tyson Fury's Sweet Caroline while writing his comments. Yeah, listen, it is what it is. What's up, JD? How you doing, mate? Also, to mention Tyson Fury, I feel like we need to lay off of him a bit with the hating. I could see him going down the same path as Ricky Hatton, unfortunately. The hating's gone a bit too far, in my opinion. Again, I don't think it's hating. I think it's criticism, personally. For me, hating is a different level. I think it's criticism. And I've not mentioned Tyson Fury since Usyk 2, really, because he hasn't been relevant. But I get your point. Big Zhang has the heaviest hands in the division. Possibly, yeah, possibly. By the way, apparently Caballero's fighting as well, end of this year, early next year. They was talking about him fighting that big Albanian lump, Nelson Heiser, who's signed with Frank Warren. I've seen a little bit of Nelson Heiser. He's like 40 years old with like a big ass, like he's got an unbeaten record, like 20-0 or something, but he's not that great. Yeah, there are definitely a sect of people who just kind of go along with the trend, right? Yeah, they kind of jump on and off the bandwagon. Yeah, you're right. But I was critical long before the Usyk fights of Fury, but praised him when, he deserved praise. That's just the nature of boxing fans, bro, Owen. That's not just exclusive to Fury. That's basically every fighter. I've seen that happen to everybody who's relevant in boxing. That's just part of boxing, bro. It happens to modern day fighters, past fighters. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's probably the bad thing about BoxRec, honestly. There's a lot of BoxRec warriors out there. There's no doubt about that. Because you can't see context on BoxRec. Which is what makes me laugh about people using it as like a way to grade fighters. You can't see whether a fight was a robbery. You can't see the state of both fighters prior to the fight. There's so much that you can't see on BoxRec. But people use it to judge fighters of yesteryear and today's era. It's like, we won't mention people, but yeah. Let's not talk shit. He definitely got tucked in. What's up, Mr. Doc? Long time no see, man. Does Caballero ever get his shot? Or is he doomed to the Who Needs Him club? Well, he still seems to have good standing with the Saudi guys. So I think eventually he'll get his turn. I think when there's one heavyweight champion, the mandatories are going to be an issue. Because Usyk can't fight all the guys at the same time. Listen, it looks like he's going to have a run-out fight end of this year, early next year, but I'd like to see him in there with a significant opponent middle of next year at least, But I hope he gets his shot if he stays unbeaten. I hope he gets his shot, but time will tell. Like, for me, outside of Parker, he would be the second most deserving of a heavyweight title shot after Parker. Well, providing Parker beats Fabio Wardley, that is. But I'd say he's second most deserving after Parker. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Owen. The fact that Beterbiev beat a Prime Bivol at 39 and had a very competitive rematch with him at 40 is extremely impressive to me. I think a Prime Beterbiev stops him. I wouldn't disagree. And again, going back to BoxRec, you can't see that context on BoxRec, You can't see that Beterbiev was going into both fights with multiple injuries, for example, Yeah, Fury was going to kill the heavyweight division unless Turkey showed up. I'll never forgive him for that. Yeah, well. Yeah, follow the trend. Be the one that agrees with all to be a goody two shoes, yeah. Kabayel signed to Spencer Brown and the cartel. He's going to get put on the shelf as he brings no value and is a risk. Possibly, bro, possibly. Possibly. But yeah, he is less likely to get a shot than Parker, honestly. He is less likely. Sup, Drunk Irishman, how you doing? Wouldn't mind Kabayel versus Okole? Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Okole is highly ranked within the WBC. In fact, I think he's #1 contender, and Kabayel is the interim champion. So Kabayel, Okole, final eliminator, makes sense. Not that I enjoy watching Okole fight, but that would make sense. That could make sense. To be honest, Usyk could fight all his Mandos in one night and still be very feel at the end. Who's the WBA Mando? Or is there one? Kabayel is WBC. Parker's WBO. Is there a WBA Mando? I guess it's Pulev technically. Yeah, if Kabayel wins the Undisputed, the Germany scene will be reignited. Yeah, German boxing right now is trash, honestly. Awful. Yeah, Beterbiev is tough, yeah. You know he's on the undercard of Yard Benavidez. He's having a comeback fight. Gonna make a video on Gary Russell versus Hirooki Delboy? Nah. I know Gary Russell had a comeback fight a little while ago. I didn't see it. He had a tune-up fight after a long time out. Gary Russell is another victim of the PBC. Gary Russell was one of the American fighters who actually was extremely talented, in my opinion. I think Gary Russell was extremely talented. Should have done a lot more in his career than he did. And now it's going to be too late. What's Gary Russell now? Must be his late 30s. Has to be like 37, 38, you would imagine. Oh, you mean the other Russell? Okay. Gary Antoine Russell. Yeah. Okay, no, I've not. I haven't thought about it, honestly. Yeah, the fact that the Saudis brought Spencer in to help put it together should have been a massive red flag. Definitely was a force behind the scenes with MTK. Yeah, this guy kind of came out of nowhere, didn't he? Spencer Brown. Kind of came out of nowhere. He looks like somebody out of like Snatch or Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. Yeah, I agree. Harrods 96. WWE style retirement match. Buried alive match. Never see him again. Never see the loser again. I'd agree with that. Yeah, he wasn't great. Apparently he injured himself in that fight. I can't wait for Pulev to get his shot and jab Usyk's nut in, win a UD. Can you imagine if he actually fights Usyk? That'd be crazy. How old's Pulev now? Pulev must be 40, 44 maybe? He's old as fuck. Pulev. He's old as fuck. Parker Wardley sold so badly they've had to add an Albanian to the card to shift tickets, yeah. Yeah, one thing about these Albanian dudes, they sell fucking tickets. The Albanians get behind their fighters, even though they suck. Okay, yeah, Pulev does. Yeah, Pulev never looks out of shape, to be fair to him. He never looks out of shape. Yeah, 44 is still young in like general life. You're not fucking done at 44, but in boxing, yeah, he's done, bro. He's done. Yeah, bro, Kuzmin got knocked out. He got knocked out by a bare knuckle boxer who hadn't boxed like in proper boxing for like 10 years or something. That's crazy. I saw the highlights of it on Twitter. I didn't watch the full fight. I watched the Jalolov fight because I was thinking like if Kuzmin wins, if Jalolov wins, they could fight each other. Rambler, what's up, man? How you doing? Liver King versus Joe Rogan. Battle of the fatheads from Roids. I don't know if Liver got a fat head, but he's got purple skin and ab implants. I think Joe Rogan would fuck him up, honestly. No, I think Usyk beat Briedis, honestly. 8-4, 7-5, if I'm being generous. I'll be honest, I don't think Pulev has ever been that great. Like, he's good at what he does in the sense of boxing from range. He's got a decent jab, turns that jab over really well. But he's another guy who struggles to throw a right hand. He struggles to actually throw genuine power shots. I don't think Pulev is that great. He's he's a point-scoring fencing type fighter. He was effective at it up until a certain level, but yeah, I was never Pulev's biggest fan. I found his style ugly, to be honest with you. I found his style ugly. I hate how he holds his guard. It looks like he's like riding a Harley Davidson. That weird fucking guard. Jalolov versus Fischer's next. Can you imagine? Listen, I hope it's entertaining, Jordan. That's all I can really hope for with Dave Allen. I hope it's entertaining. Blood Rush Entertainment, what's up? Parker for this fight should come in at 240s, use his speed and boxing ability, don't get into a slugfest with Wardley. If he does, to me, his chances of winning are no more. Yeah, that's what Wardley's going to try and count on, right? He's going to try and count on Parker negating his experience, negating his superior kind of amateur pedigree, his superior boxing ability. You know, he's going to want Parker to fight his fight and get involved. We'll see. Parker obviously in his last fight came in heavier, originally preparing for Dubois, but obviously ended up fighting Bakole. Maybe he'll try and do similar. Maybe he'll try and put it on Wardley. I think that's a good fight, though, honestly. It's a good fight. Yeah. Briedis should have moved up after Usyk. He would have been a huge threat at heavyweight. Yeah, he'd have been a unique threat, no doubt. No doubt. That was a great fight, by the way, Briedis versus Usyk. Great fight. I definitely think it was Usyk's hardest fight. Certainly below heavyweight. Without a doubt. Big John Fischer versus Wings of Redemption. Wings of Redemption could be too quick. But I think John Fisher's got more power, Big John. Who's got the superior gas tank, would you say? Do you know what? I'm going to go Big John Fisher. I've seen him on the pads. I think he'll knock out Wings. I'd pay to watch it. I'd actually pay for that fight. Big John Fisher versus Wings of Redemption. That's a hell of a fight. Pulev had a similar guard to Jorge Luis Gonzalez in the Riddick Bowe fights. Just takes shots on the chin, yeah. His guard is so wide. It's like he holds his guard to like catch and parry straight punches. His guard's weird as fuck, honestly. His guard's weird. Parker's been looking shaky in the chin area for a while. I think Wardley ices him. I think that's kind of harsh, man. He got dropped by Zhang, who's a massive puncher. I think that's kind of harsh. Maybe it's not as good as it used to be. Maybe we'll go that far, but I don't think his chin is shaky as such. Wouldn't mind seeing Big John spark the Gad. Wings of Redemption made Boogie's confidence melt like smoothies. Shades of George Foreman. Yeah, that fight was hilarious. Do you know what? To this day, that's been the only influencer fight I've ever watched. Was Wings of Redemption versus Boogie. Only fight I've ever watched in regards to influencers. And I enjoyed it for what it was, believe it or not. I had a hell of a time watching it. If you're going to do like influencer boxing, that's what it should be. It should be a fucking circus. It is a circus, but it's not my type of circus, you know? They should have thrown the bag at Wings and made him take another fight against some other like fat lolcow. Look here, look, listen! You think Wings will outman Fisher? What, too big? I don't know, man. I think Big John Fisher, might be too big, too strong. I think he might be too big, too strong. Don't forget, I'm up to date with like the Wings lore, because I kind of like have a guilty pleasure of like internet locales, and Wings of Redemption's had like gastric bypass surgery. Clearly hasn't worked, but that's gonna have taken its toll. You know, that's gonna have reduced the strength, the punching power. I think Big John might walk through him, and I think it could be ugly. I think Big John, once he gets that forwards momentum, it's going to take a hell of a man to stop him. And I don't think Wings is that man. I think Big John walks Wings down, makes him take a knee, and he doesn't get back up. He'll exclaim, "I can't take this shit no more, man!" And he's going to say, no mas. It's going to be over. Wings has no stamina. If you saw Wings Boogie now without knowing who they were, you'd think it was AI. Bro, it was my favourite influencer fight. It was the only one I genuinely watched. I watched it live, I was excited for it, and I was entertained by it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy will you be if Dave Allen gets knocked out early? Listen, man, I won't be happy, man. I won't be happy. It's just, I just want to see a fun fight. And if it's Dave Allen getting splattered, then great. I'll be happy if it's a good fight regardless, honestly. The Dave Allen hate thing's a bit of a meme. I don't hate the guy. It's a meme. Don't do roids. They will age you 20 years and you might get a fat head or a bubble gut. Stay natty. Yeah, but who knows, man? I'm not a fucking expert on steroids and shit, you know what I mean? Yeah, bro, yeah, people who get the gastric bands seem to think it's a magic solution. Have this, eat what you want, etc. Yeah, it's the same with this new drug, Ozempic. Bro, there's so many people on that shit now, it's crazy. And the thing is, you know, these people will lose weight really quickly, but they look like shit. They look so unhealthy. And who knows what the side effects will be in regards to Ozempic? How much research has been done in regards to that drug? There's no such thing as a miracle drug, man. There's no such thing as a miracle drug. Unless it comes from this earth itself, maybe there's like some fucking remedies, some natural remedies that we've been fucking missing out on. They should let Wings and John eat in between rounds. That'd be great, yeah. I saw a video of Wings shadowboxing and he gassed after about 10 seconds. You seem like the type of guy, Nordic, like me, who enjoys lolcows, who low-key watches videos like, you know, like lolcow documentaries. Because I'm kind of into it. I'm kind of into, like, internet subculture. Frotch versus Till rumoured. Yeah, not interested, honestly. What's up, Bruce? How are you doing, man? Yeah, people don't get it. The best way to lose weight is to eat the same thing every day. Yeah, I'm lucky in that respect. I've never been somebody who's been overweight. I've always been naturally slim for whatever reason. Metabolism, obviously, but yeah, I am trying to eat better now though. Like for 5 days a week, for example, I'll do one meal in 24 hours. Just one meal. I do that 5 times a week. And on weekends, I won't, I'll splurge out a little bit, you know, but I won't go crazy. I've totally packed in the booze as well, like no more booze. I'll have booze now and again, like when the opportunity calls for it, but I'm just sick of all that shit, honestly. I'm sick of putting that shit in my body. And listen, I've got my vice like nicotine, and I'm vaping instead of smoking. I'm just trying to make a little bit of effort, you know? Trying to exercise more, which I've been doing. I'm trying to find a boxing gym, but the boxing gyms local to me, bro, they've become bougie. So it's not what I'm looking for. I don't want a fucking boxercise class. And, you know, the Spit and Sawdust boxing gyms are like the closest one, I think, of any value. Probably 10 miles away in Luton. Do I want to travel that far? After work and shit. Nah. Boogie would get eaten up by Big John. 100%. Who would win an eating competition between Big John and Wings? Big John again. Big John beats Wings every day and twice on Sundays. Yeah, when you can't see your own dick, it's time to stop eating. Wings didn't get the memo. Like, just imagine that, honestly. Like, imagine looking down and you can't even see your own pecker. Like, I've always thought that about myself. Like, if I ever started to get out of shape, I'd like to think that there'd become a point where I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I need to fucking alter this and turn this ship around. Because you have a long time to back out of getting fat. You have a long time to back out. It takes a long time to get fat. And you got a lot of time to back out. And also, the longer you're fat as well, the more damage it does to your body. There's shit you can't undo. Like loose skin, that sort of thing. The damage to your joints. There's things you can't reverse, even if you lose weight. If you've been fat for a long period of time, low-key, you're kind of cooked. It's not really encouraging, is it, to be saying things like this, but don't get fat if you're not fat. How about that? Yeah, Charlie Zelenov is fascinating as well, honestly. I don't know whether he's still around, though, Charlie Zelenov. I don't know whether he's still around. Yeah, bro. And Wilder put... I remember that clip because Wilder put his gloves on the wrong way round. Yeah, I'd rather lose weight naturally. I'm 270, but even with weight loss, I've always been naturally big since a kid. It's just my natural frame. It's something my dad and my brother have, slim build, yeah. Well, yeah, we all have our natural frames and you know, our natural body state. Yeah, you've got to have a cheat meal once in a while. I agree, Bruce. I agree. Because I've often thought about the psychology behind addiction and things like that. I've always... Listen, I admire anybody who can beat an addiction and make a change in their lives. It's admirable, right? But I think there's a lot more to say about somebody who may have been indulging too much in a certain area, and instead of quitting it cold turkey and never touching it again, I actually think it's more impressive for somebody to break a habit but partake now and again. So let's say booze, for example. Instead of I'm a year sober, I'm 2 years sober, I'm 5 years sober. Instead of that, I think it takes more mental strength to be able to go a few months without, and then maybe there's a time where you drink, and then go a few more months without. Be responsible. I think there's a lot more strength in that. I think people have been tricked that you have to give something up totally and forever. Because you have to have some fun. You have to let your hair down. You know? It's not just physical, it's for mental as well. And there's nothing wrong with indulging now and again. You know? Whether that be having a couple of drinks or having a cheat meal, like you said, there's nothing wrong with it. For people who become like Nazis with what they eat and like just become tyrannical on themselves, like how healthy are they really? Like mentally, if they feel like one little hiccup's gonna disrupt them, like how honestly, how mentally stable are they really? Because to me that sounds like an eating problem. If you have to like micromanage every single little thing, to me that sounds like an eating problem. Yeah, bro, that's crazy. Yeah, I did see that Nordic. I did. Yeah, that's who I feel sorry for in regards to like, if you have parents who don't feed you right and, they ply you with junk food and like just processed crap and the kid becomes obese because of that. I feel, yeah, but that's just bad parenting, isn't it? And again, there's nothing wrong with a kid having some unhealthy crap now and again, but I was very lucky with my parents. They always did really well with like my diet as a kid. It wasn't even a diet, but it was just balanced, just balanced, like real food, like real ingredients. Gareth A. Davis versus Ben Shalom. Gareth A. Davis all day long. Yeah, to lose weight, you need to stop drinking beer, drink drink spirits and sniff packets instead. Yeah, and also smoke cigarettes. It's a great idea. Yeah, very obese people need surgery to remove the skin. Yeah. Yeah, that's another good point as well. People who lose a lot of weight very quickly, like really big people who lose a lot of weight quickly, it does look like they've aged like 10 years in a span of 6 months. It does look crazy. Yeah, you have to do weight training when you diet, or you'll have loose skin and have that skinny fat man look. Yeah, and that's not a look you want to go for. Charlie Z's in Kyrgyzstan. What's he doing out there? Man's in Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, 100%, 100%. So my cheat meal on Saturday, I'm not sure yet. We need to think about that one. But I ate dinner at work today and I was like, fuck, I'm not really hungry, so I've not cooked myself anything. Got beef steaks tomorrow. Some beef steaks. Have some green beans, some runner beans with it, some potatoes. That's what I've got tomorrow, but Oliver McCall versus Ray Mercer, both with their heads switched on. Ray Mercer based on his jab. Mercer had a really good jab. I'd say Mercer would outbox Oliver McCall personally to a UD. Yeah, Ray Mercer UD. Never going to knock out McCall, but yeah, Ray Mercer UD. I'm 21 years California sober. California sober is just booze sober, innit? But yeah, honestly, yeah, weed is far less detrimental than booze. Cheat meals have made people become more lazy. People nowadays probably don't know how to cook some of them. Yeah, true that. True that. Yeah, live a disciplined life, but also have fun. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, when you're counting like every little fucking protein or fucking, calorie, that's when I think you've got a problem. I think you need to take a step back. I think you need to take a step back. I think we basically know what's good for us, right? We don't need I'm not saying it's not beneficial, but we don't need nutritionists to know what's good for us and what isn't, to a degree, you know? To a degree. Now, a nutritionist might tell us what's better than within, like, what's good for you and what's bad for you, etc. But, I don't know, man. We know what's good for us. We know what's bad for us, pretty much. And we know how we feel after we eat certain foods. Like, there's certain foods I eat. So bread for me, like bread in particular, makes me feel so lethargic. And I've noticed as I've been eating less and less like processed food, like processed food in particular with like fucking breadcrumbs or something or batter, like I respond worse to it now. Now I'm eating less of it. It just makes me feel so lethargic and tired. Just drains me of energy. But if I have, for example, like some salmon fillets and fucking rice or whatever, I'm Gucci, I'm great. Or chicken and rice or whatever. I'm really good. I feel really energized. The only thing with that is, like, the only thing I noticed is when I first started to try to eat more healthy, I did get hungry a lot more in between the intervals kind of thing, in between meals and shit, but that soon wears off. That soon wears off once you get used to it. Yeah, I know a little bit about Rich from from Rebutic USA. Yeah. Yeah, people always say lose weight when what they need to do is lose fat and put on some muscle. That's a great point, Bruce. That's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. In the hood, we are basically a food dessert. I ate my parents' food my mum makes most of the time, but I lived right next to a McDonald's, so I did go there a lot of the time. My whole hometown had fast food, yeah. Fast food is definitely dangerous, like, it is dangerous. I'll be honest though, for whatever reason, I've never really liked fast food all that much. Like, I'm talking about from like chain restaurants like McDonald's or Burger King. I've never really liked it. I've never really liked it. But I like a good burger, but not from a place like McDonald's and that. You should make a Dagestani meal on Saturday. Honestly, I'd probably really enjoy it because what a Dagestani is going to eat, rice and lamb. I'm all for it. I'd like it. I'd love it, in fact. I'm not going to lie, the Middle Eastern diet looks pretty good. Because it's primarily lamb, isn't it? In terms of meat. And lamb's my favourite. Lamb is my favourite, honestly. I love lamb. Yeah, that's another thing that I really like doing. That's a great point. When you cook, when you cook from scratch, what I like to do is cook meals that will last me more than a day. Like, it's so fucking convenient. Like a chili con carne. Like, easy to make, super tasty, and like a chili con carne tastes even better when you reheat it, like the next day or whatever. Yeah, batch cooking is a really good idea. It's a good habit to get into. It's a good habit to get into. So I can make a pot of chili and it could do me like 3 days. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I like bread as well. I like bread as well, Jacob. Dave Palumbo would be proud of my gut. I miss sit-ups day. Yeah, exactly, C guy. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who just spread a lot of fear about food. Yeah, bread is the worst. Yeah, I agree. If I spend a few days without processed grains, I feel amazing. Yeah, I think that's what really fucks me up, honestly. I think that's what makes me feel stodgy. It's like like you say, processed grains. I think that's what fucks me up. There's like some people say pasta makes them feel lethargic. Pasta's fine for me. Like I respond to pasta perfectly. I respond to rice perfectly. But bread? Yeah, bread is there's something about bread that kind of just drains me. Tortillas though I can get around. Like tortillas not so much. So I've kind of like swapped bread out for tortillas, to be honest with you. Yo, tinned fish low key, yeah. We're talking about bread. toast, like some, toast, and if you get some sardines in tomato sauce, like sardines in a can in tomato sauce and put it on toast, it's amazing. Yeah, if I had to pick a fast food restaurant, it would be Burger King, I'd say. Because KFC now has gone downhill. I agree, Jacob. Yeah, lamb for me is close. Yeah, lamb for me is just number one. I agree. It's not close. Sorry, it's not close. So many ways you can cook lamb as well, man. I love a slow cooked fucking lamb shank. A slow cooked lamb shank in rich gravy, like really rich gravy. Oh god, that's what it's about. Mashed potato, some broccoli maybe, whatever you want with it, man. It's amazing. Yeah, diet cults are ridiculous. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are, man. They are. They are. There's so many different like subcultures in regards to like nutrition. You've obviously got like the vegans, the vegetarians, the carnivores. Like all that shit is just fucking nuts, honestly. Yeah, I love pasta as well. Thoughts on where the UK is heading? Probably for fucking the doldrums, bro. I'd say. But who knows? Maybe not. Maybe not. We should always maintain hope of that things will get better. Or maybe we're forced to make things better at some point in time. Who knows? Who knows if that day will come? Yeah, I agree, Nordic. I agree. And the longer I've gone without it and the less I've had it, I've noticed it more and more and more. Because there's been so many times when I felt fine, had my dinner, whatever it may be, and I just crash, I'm fucked. And I just don't have energy for anything. If you like bread, try Ezekiel bread. A whole grain flourless bread made from sprouted grains. Okay. Inspired by a biblical recipe. Interesting. Interesting. See, I've never even heard of it. That's interesting. Yeah, listen, man. Gary Neville's a cuck. It is what it is. Strange guy. Yeah, it's because grains are genetically modified. It gives most people autoimmune issues. It could be that, bro. You're right, yeah. It could be that. Sup, C Delta? How you doing, bro? Yeah, fast food used to be cheap. Now it's expensive, yeah. Like, the only thing I'd ever order, I think, from McDonald's would be the McDonald's breakfast. That'd be it. Best burger I've ever tasted was in a place called Fat Hippo in Glasgow. Beautiful. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. That bread you mentioned sounds great, by the way. That sounds interesting. I'd definitely try it out. I would definitely try it out. Yeah, bro. Like my shop though, my shop recently, I've been looking for salmon as not salmon, sorry, trout. Because sometimes you'll catch it and they'll be selling like whole trouts, and I love trout. Honestly, I love trout. Just some light seasonings on it. Cut a lemon up, score it. Put the lemon in. Put the lemon in the belly as well. And yeah, man, jobs are good. And honestly. Trout is such a nice tasting fish. I don't really season trout with that much apart from like cracked sea salt and cracked black pepper and lemon. Trout doesn't need much seasoning. But I love salmon as well, man. Salmon's great. I love salmon when I like to pan fry salmon and I like the skin on fillets so I can get the skin nice and crispy. Ah, bro, salmon's great, honestly. I love salmon. I love salmon. Yeah, bro, lamb is fucking... Bro, you need to get a slow cooker, honestly. Slow cookers, crock pots, whatever you want to call them. Bro, they're immense. I love meals you can cook in the slow cooker because it's basically prep it, cut the shit up, whatever you want to do, chuck it in, leave it. Slow cooked meals are fucking great because it makes you feel like you've actually cooked something, but you haven't really. And you can make really good food. like great stews or great chilies, whatever it may be. And I've noticed that as well, like whenever I eat spicy food, for whatever reason, I also respond really well to spicy food. Like healthy spicy food, for example. Like let's say I just cook up some chicken breasts and I season it up. Like for whatever reason, I respond to spices really well. I feel so much better. You know, like cayenne pepper and shit like that. For in America, I think most people, or more people, need to push against fast food. We're having more younger diabetics at younger ages, and no one really mentions it though for some reason. Maybe out of fear. Well, people are making a lot of money. Blood rush. People are making a lot of money based off that, aren't they? You know, it's like anything in life. When there's money being made, then speaking out against it, you're going to be met with, you know, a lot of roadblocks, unfortunately. Okay, so Ezekiel bread is in the refrigerated section if you're looking for it. I'll definitely try and find it. I'll definitely take a look for it because I'd like to try it to see how it would respond, you know, to my body kind of thing. Yeah, bro, yeah. There are a couple of decent... I'll be honest though, I don't really go to restaurants in general, personally. Life is too short for salmon. Salmon is fucking great. Salmon makes me feel bougie, bro. Honestly, I love salmon. Trout's my favourite food. Yeah, trout is great. Like, trout is really good. So I'll have trout just with, usually just with rice and maybe some, like, broccoli. I kind of do, like, a quasi-steamed broccoli kind of thing. Basically, I'll wrap it in foil with some butter and it kind of steams in the butter. That's what I'll do. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I only eat beef. My whole family are vegan. Bro, that sounds rough. I like beef though. Like beef is sick, but I'd need more. I would need more than beef though. Yeah, don't be seasoning trout. I agree, yeah. No, I agree. Trout doesn't need seasoning. It's such a delicate fish. Sound like a ponce, don't I? Oh, it's such a delicate fish. Sound like a fucking ponce. Oh, bro, I can't lie. I can't lie. Like, if I see a pork pie, I'd struggle not to eat it. I love pork pies. But again, it's one of them things that just makes me feel so stodgy afterwards. Like, if I had a 6-pack of pork pies in the fridge right now, they wouldn't last the night. Honestly, I love that shit. Okay, good rule of a good rule is checking out the glycemic index of food. Lower the better. Okay. Yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it? Like, I think we live day to day. We have our jobs, we have our commitments, and it's so hard to take a step back and kind of like assess what different foods are doing to us. I've been getting in this mindset more recently. It's only been more of a recent thing where I've kind of been cutting certain things out, adding certain things in. Not really adding things in, but just cutting things out that I know are not really all that great for me. And I've wondered, and I've just been like assessing the effects of it. And yeah, I've realised certain things, you know, which has been beneficial. It's been beneficial. It's been beneficial, but you know, when you're working and you know you've got all these commitments, it's definitely hard to balance. Without a doubt. I used to eat pork pies and Scotch eggs all the time, but I feel like they make me gain weight too much too quickly, so I don't eat them these days. Yeah, bro, that shit's nice, man. Honestly, like I love all that shit. Sausage rolls, pork pies, Scotch eggs, bro. I like that shit, man. You stole a pork pie from Sainsbury's today. Yeah, man. Sourdough bread's easier on my system for some reason. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever tried sourdough bread. I know that's isn't that a big thing in America, sourdough? I've never tried it. Ever had a kebab pizza? No, I haven't. No. I know I would like it, but I don't think I'd like it more than like a regular pizza topping. Yeah, 100%. It's more so getting in the routine of it, Bruce. It's more so how we get into the routine of it. I've realised that I'm 31. I've realised that in the last sort of 6 months or so. I realised I was taking a lot of liberties. And I am still taking liberties to a degree, but I'm not young forever. I'm not going to be young forever. You know? And I've definitely neglected the genetics that I have going in my favour, like fast metabolism. I kind of look younger than I am. I've really neglected it. It's kind of made me very complacent. So I thought, yeah, fuck it. We need to make some changes. We need to just put a bit more effort in. Again, not be like a food fucking Nazi or anything like that, but just put a bit of effort in. Little bit of exercise, which I'm doing. I'm not doing a crazy amount right now. I'm gonna up it when I can. Hopefully get to a boxing gym. And yeah, go from there kind of thing. But like a little bit of effort goes a long way. The reason Japanese people are so thin is because from a young age, they are taught to eat healthy food. In their cafeteria, they get food and not chips and rubbish. Yeah, like, bro, the school dinners when I was at school, bro, like, honestly, fish fingers, fucking just processed. Everything was processed. There was no, like, fresh food or, like, healthy options, really. Yeah, there's a lot of old people in Japan. And I work with a lot of Japanese people as well in the company I work for. And I swear to God, every single one is in, like, shape. They're, like, all thin. They're all thin. Every single one. And I work with a lot of Japanese people, but even over here, they still, like, maintain a good diet. Which makes you realise that it can be done over here. Yeah, Japanese eat a lot of fish and small portions, very healthy, yeah. I like the look of like a lot of the Japanese diet, to be fair. Jamie Oliver ruined school food. Yeah, do you guys remember turkey Twizzlers? Bro, they were elite, I can't lie. Yeah, the smiley face fucking like potato things. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, all that shit. Curly fries as well. All that stuff, yeah. Like just like the stodgiest jacket potatoes filled with cheese and butter. Bro. Listen, like jacket taters can be healthy, don't get me wrong. The turkey dinosaurs, yeah, bro, the turkey dinosaurs, yep, I remember them as well. Yep. Bro, that's crazy. That I swear that shit was just served nationwide in public schools. You know, we was like getting the stodge. We really were. They didn't spare a fucking penny, did they? Hardly. Fuck me. Jesus Christ. But the turkey Twizzlers were good, I'm not gonna lie. To be fair though, like a lot of the time, I didn't get like hot dinners at school. Like a lot of the time I would take packed lunch. It was only when my parents could spare a bit of cash, that's when I would get a school dinner kind of thing. Because we had to pay for our school meals, obviously. I don't know whether that's the case now. I'm out of a loop in regards to that sort of thing, but most of the time there was no spare money for me to have school dinners. So I would go to school like with sandwiches and that sort of shit, you know, like sandwiches, a banana, and a drink, basically. Yeah, cheese strings, bro. Yeah, they were all the rage back in the day. Do you remember those fucking fruit? Oh, what were they fucking called? So it was like strips of like. So it. How do I explain it? I want to call them fruit twisters, but I don't think they were called fruit twisters. So basically, they came on like a roll of paper. You had to unroll it, and it would peel off like the fruity fucking gummy fucking shit. I don't know what it was called. But yeah, they were fucking so good. Fruit Winders, yes. Bro, Fruit Winders were so good, man. I used to love like peeling them off like a surgeon. And I'd fucking just mash it all together in a big ball and stuff it in my gob, honestly. Yeah, Fruit Winders, bro. They were so good, man. They were so good. I used to love it when I went to school with a Fruit Winder, honestly. I felt like I was fucking living life. Those were, bro, Fruit Winders were nice. Yeah, man, Fruit Winders. Best cheeseburgers are the ones without the bun. But I do love me a burger, man, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, same, yeah. School lunches were expensive, yeah. They were expensive, especially once I got to high school especially, they were very expensive. I don't think I even had a hot meal, like a school dinner at high school. I don't remember anyway. I used to pretend it was my time. Bro, do you remember the strawberry laces? They was like covered in sugar and shit. I remember at school, I used to like, this is fucking grim, but it was like a party trick. I used to like lick the sugar off, so it's just like a string, and I used to snort I used to snort like the fruit lace up my nose and pull it out my mouth. It's like my party trick at school. Fucking grim. Bro, they were good though. They were good, man. They were good still. Because you could get like strawberry laces, Coca-Cola laces, and I used to love how sour they were, man. Honestly. Bro, yes, the chocolate cigarettes. I remember them when I was young. I must have been like 7 or 8 maybe. Yeah, the chocolate cigarettes were a real thing back in the day. They were a real thing. A dog of a man, bro. Yeah, man, 100%. The only thing I miss from my childhood is the old Tesco's donuts. I'll be honest, yeah, like, in terms, we're talking about cheat meals and cheat days. I do really like Morrison's, like, bakery, so they'll do, like, cookies and shit and things like that. They're really good, man. And donuts and whatnot, eclairs. They are really good. But Saturday is my cheat day, so we're looking forward to that. What's up, Dale? Not an amazing fight this weekend, but better than nothing. Yeah, that's how I'm seeing it as well, bro. Looking forward to the Junaid Boston fight. He got a gift in his last fight. Yeah, he's rematching that guy, isn't he? Fawaz, whatever his name is. Yeah. See if he can make adjustments. Chunky Bar. I'm sure we had the equivalent out here. That name rings a bell. A Chunky Bar. I'm sure we had some sort of equivalent. Maybe it was something totally different, but it rings a bell. Yeah, man, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy, honestly. Do you remember like the sherbet powder? You used to get it in like the little tubes, and you could pay like they were dirt cheap, like a couple of pence for a sherbet tube, and we used to like snort it, like when we was like 9, 10, like pretending it was cocaine. That's the sort of fucking friends I had. That's the sort of kid I was. Snorting up sherbet like fucking degenerates. It's no wonder I didn't become a fucking fiending cokehead, honestly. Yeah, we used to have fake lolly cigarettes called fags. Sparkling water in potion like bottles. Yeah, I'll do a whole cheat day, yeah. When I say a whole cheat day, it's not like I'll have fucking sort of 6,000 calories, but maybe I'll have like a cheat meal and I'll have like some chocolate afterwards, kind of thing. I don't go like crazy or anything like that. And as I said, there's no more booze either. That's gone out the window. No more booze. Yeah, the different coloured tubes. Yeah, like green, yellow, pink, all that shit. Yeah. Bro, those were the days, man. Those were the days. No, I didn't, no. So Iron Brew, obviously, down here was never as big as it is up there in Scotland. But I've always liked Iron Brew. Having said that, like, They ruined it though. They obviously ruined it after that sugar tax bullshit came in. They ruined it, but I do like the general taste of Iron Brew. It's something different, Iron Brew. It doesn't taste like anything else on the market. So I do enjoy an Iron Brew now and again. On my £600 life, some of them eat about 15,000 calories a day. That's insane, honestly. That's insane. I gave up booze 3 years ago. Best decision I've ever made in a long time. Feel like $1,000,000. Yeah, 100%. Honestly, like I've not missed it at all either. Honestly, the only thing that'll be interesting is because I've got like a work function in November, and I feel like to tolerate people, I'm going to need to have a couple of drinks. It's either that or go to my hotel early and do nothing. See, I'm not a big fan of Dr. Pepper, personally. I'm not a big fan. If I were to drink a soft drink, honestly, I'd probably go like a regular Coke more than anything. I'd probably go a regular Coke. You're working 11-hour days as a carpenter at the moment, and I'm eating around 5,000 calories a day and you're losing weight. That's crazy. Yeah, we used to do that as kids as well, man. Yeah, we always used to stick the chewing gum under the desk, yeah. Bro, that's crazy, honestly. Back in the days, man. It feels like yesterday I was in school as well. Time goes so fucking quick. Time goes so fucking quick. But those were the days, man, honestly. You wish those days away when you're a kid. When you're young, you wish your time away. You really do. You think life when you're young is like hard, or it's a mission, going to school and shit, but honestly, like, you don't realise how good you had it until it's no longer, till it's a past memory kind of thing. But yeah, when you're young, you wish your time away. And I always used to remember my parents or just elders in general saying, oh, you always wish your time away, enjoy it and, make the most of it. And you think at the time, yeah, whatever, you old fart. But you realise they're right at a certain point in time. You realise they were right. And then you'll give that same advice to a younger person and they'll look at you the same way you looked at them back in the day. It's so true. You should never wish your time away. It's so true. Yeah, when you're in school, you have no responsibilities and don't realise it. Yeah, but you feel at the same time, you used to feel like the whole world was against you and you got all this like stress and pressure, bloody blah. But yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm looking at some Dagestani recipes. Avar Kingal, nice and simple, looks good. Bro, those motherfuckers are strong, man, so there might be something in it. Should do like a month-long Dagestani diet and see how it ends up. Yeah, my £600 life is a traumatic TV show, just mind-bending, yeah. See, I've never really liked reality shows like that, personally. Yeah, they were better times, man, yeah, 100%. Like, I think, like, the zenith of youth, I think, is between, like, 16 and 18, honestly. I think that's, like, the zenith of youth. That's, like, the best time. It was for me, anyway. From about 2010 to 2012 was, like, just such a great time. Such a great time. But I also look back at... I also look back and I feel like that was the end of, like... It's almost like the end of a... How do I explain it? I feel like that was the end of, like, the good vibe in Britain. I feel like in the UK, the Olympics really signified the end of what Britain was. And that kind of culminated with that time in my life. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but that's what it really feels like to me. That's what when looking back, that's what it really felt like. Yeah, as a kid you don't realise that working and taxes are a pain in the ass. Yeah, speaking of taxes, I need to do my fucking, I need to do my self-assessment before the end of October. I keep on putting it off. I'm just in the mood to where I don't want to pay it, I'll be honest. I don't have to pay it right now, it's not the point, but I've got to do the tax return. And I really don't want to pay it. I'm probably going to just take some liberties, you know. 2011 was a good year, man. Yeah, 2011 was a good year. But do you feel the same way, Nordic? Like, but very early 2010s for me was like, it kind of felt like the end of the Britain that we grew up with. And ever since then, it's kind of been progressively worse year on year on year on year on year. Like 2012 Olympics for me was more than just the Olympics. I'm not a fan of the Olympics, but it felt like there was something very symbolic behind that. In a bad way. Yeah, the crypto shit, man. I just haven't bit the bullet on it. Honestly, I've fucking looked at it so many times, and I haven't had the bottle to actually do it, to invest. And I know, like I should have done by now, but it is what it is. In Boxing Dell, what has been your most satisfying viewing of a fight ever? Mine is Usyk stopping Dubois again. In recent memory, that's up there. Honestly, Broner versus Maidana is a great contender. Broner versus Maidana might be number one, honestly. Broner v Maidana could be one. That was crazy when it happened. Like, seeing it live. I've escaped the Matrix like Andrew Tate. And Liam's still in it. No, just kidding. I think Andrew Tate is mired in the Matrix and he needs fame. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm surprised Andrew Tate is still like relevant. You know, usually with these influencers, people will kind of fall off after a while, but yeah, crypto is it's just something I've been scared to like pull the trigger on. Personally, I just don't feel comfortable with it. I don't feel confident about it. Personally, I'm not good at that sort of thing, like investing, and I've built up savings and whatever, and I don't want to waste it. I don't want to like lose money and shit. And that's the thing about growing up fucking broke. Like, I feel like that always, for me personally anyway, it's always stayed with me. Like, I've got savings now. It's not like I'm earning crazy amounts each month anymore, because I'm not. But I can just put a bit away each month, kind of thing. But anyway, I've got really good savings now, but I don't want to lose it. Honestly, I'm terrified of losing it. I'd rather it not do anything than lose money, if that makes sense. I know I'm still losing money by it not doing anything. I get it. But yeah, it's one of them ones. But yeah, if you grow up broke, I think your relationship with money can be affected. Mine certainly is. Like, people would call me tight, honestly. I think people would call me tight. But on the flip side, though, like, a lot of people who didn't come from money, once they make a bit of money, or they come into some sort of money, they'll automatically spend it. I'd much rather be the way I am than be that way. Like, my brother's that way. Like, any sort of money he gets, he spends like water, honestly. Like, me and my brother are polar opposites with that sort of thing. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, man. I've got money in premium bonds. I filled out a premium bonds account, which is kind of beating interest this year, to be fair. It's beating most of the interest accounts that are available by like mainstream banks, which is cool, which is good. But I've got more savings that I need to put somewhere. And yeah, you're right, I probably should just open up a savings account, honestly. That's crazy, Kirsten Mac. That's crazy. I grew up broke as well, Del, but because of that, I'm not really attached to money. I threw my life savings into crypto. Are you big time up? Hopefully you are. Hopefully you are. That's ballsy though. See, I'm the opposite. I'm attached to money, not in like I guess it is materialistic still. Not in a if I came into like fuck you money, never had to work again, I wouldn't be that type of guy to spend it on fucking fancy cars and shit. I wouldn't be that guy. I would just be happy with comfort. I'd be happy with peace of mind. That's for me what money represents. Like the idea of having a lot of money. That's what it represents to me. Just freedom. I don't give a fuck about like the fancy shit, honestly. I don't really give a shit about that at all. But yeah, so I'm definitely attached to money, without a doubt. Not in the usual way, but I still am, and maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's still a problem. Maybe it's as big a problem as just being like purely materialistic. Maybe it is. I was super attached to money until I got seriously hurt 9 months ago and saw how much money I spent without a lot of income. Now I'm recovering and I'm very confident I can earn it back again. Well, yeah, fingers crossed. Main thing, mate, is your recovery goes well. That's the main thing. That's the main thing. You know? And yeah, touch wood, none of us encounter that. Also, Del, if you're scared of losing money, throw your money into stablecoins and earn yield. I'm earning variable 7 to 20% on my stablecoins. So 20% to me, if I put everything in, that would be huge. 20% would be big for me. Honestly, if I put everything into like just stablecoins, 20% would be big. But yeah, I've got to the point now to where I've like garnered X amount of savings and I'm kind of stuck in the position of not knowing really what to do. So I could pull the trigger and just try and buy a property, like I could put a big deposit down, etc. I don't even know if I want to buy a house yet, honestly. I don't even know if I want to buy a house. Has a mattress stuffed with cash. How base would that be? Thanks, man. My point is, money comes and goes. It's inevitably going somewhere. Yeah, that's true. But if you put it where it needs to be, away from drugs and such, and into your savings and investments, you're well ahead, yeah. Well, that's the main thing, bro. I've like really tightened my belt. Like, I've really tightened my belt. And I do need to get serious about like savings accounts and shit like that, you know? I've done a good job of like building savings, like I said. Done a good job, but yeah, I need to do more, you know? Buying a house feels like a bigger commitment than marriage. Yeah, facts. Facts. But my idea was like, I've never wanted to buy a house with somebody else on the mortgage or whatever. I just want it to be me. And I could do that. I could sneak that now. And I could easily do it if I moved somewhere else in the UK. If I moved up north, I could easily do it. But obviously up north, your earning potential is less. Having said that, I don't earn crazy amounts in my job anyway. I earn very average wages in my job. It's outside my job where I've built money kind of thing, you know? I've built my savings. It's outside my job. Because I've never been somebody who's been motivated necessarily to get a quote-unquote career. I've always kind of felt I could hack the system and make it outside of that. And it's been a hell of a risk. It's like, it's not worked. It hasn't not worked. It's partially worked to a degree. But I know it sounds really deluded. It sounds really deluded, but I've always felt to myself, I can crack it some other way. And I felt that way from when I was young. I don't know why, because I'm not talented in any one area at all, but I just felt like I could crack it. You know, there are more ways, sorry, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Yeah, keep the money in your savings. It's a strong foundation, but also take the risk of investing it somewhere. You might regret not doing it. Yeah, facts. 100%, yeah. What's up, Linear North, by the way? How you doing, mate? I've been in Thailand most of the time since 2014. Every time I went back, I can't believe how bad things are now in the UK, yeah. But listen, I complain about the UK all the time. And I often think, like, would life be better abroad? I think I'd still miss it. I think I would still miss the UK. I believe in, like, blood ties to land. You know, I think the connection is more than just, you know, a passport or whatever. I think I would miss the country to a degree. I do. I'd miss the home comforts. As much as I complain about this country, I still love England, you know? I work all over the country now, but for minimum wage, but I'll do it for now. Yeah, man, you work hard, bro. You work hard. Also, Dell, I've gotten into this crypto ecosystem called Metallicus. Look into it, people. Look into it, people. It lets you become your own bank. I can lend my crypto, get interest on that, and then borrow against what I've lent. That sounds interesting. That sounds interesting. I don't know whether I'd want to do that though, honestly. I don't know if I'd feel bad about it. I don't know if I'd feel bad about it. I mean, no, I mean, no, I don't think I would. I don't know. It sounds like a great idea, but how secure is it? How secure is it? See, we got some really interesting people in the chat, man, when we don't talk about boxing, honestly. Like, a lot of you guys are very capable. I'm basically retired. Every day's a pajama day. Yeah. I think it's natural though. Like if you're living abroad, you have to miss home sometimes, right? I think there are ways around that. Like maybe in America, America is similar enough to where like I don't feel like it would be a big problem, really. Or somewhere like Canada, maybe. Yeah, the banter. Yeah, the banter. Yeah, if you're against, I'm not against crypto personally. I'm not against it. But look into Vanguard. This year alone, my friends have made 12%. Bro, we need to get a Kirsten investment like segment on the channel. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, listen, I could be rich, but not much in my life would change, honestly. In terms of like, the only thing like, yeah, I'd pursue some hobbies. Maybe I'd try different things. Like, I've always wanted to try hunting and things like that. What I'd love to do is buy a place out of the way and like just have like basic shit like some chickens and maybe some like small crops or whatever and stuff like that. I would try and pursue things like that, you know. Okay, cool. So super secure, they are bank secrecy ACT compliant. They've been working with the banks for the last 10 years. Okay. So what was that called again? So we should probably write some of this down, shouldn't I, really? Okay, let me put it on a notepad. Fuck it, hang on. So Vanguard. What was the other one? Metallicus. Okay, off. Put it in a notepad on my computer. I'm 2 years younger than you, Del, and I moved out of the UK in 2013 to Sweden. Only thing I miss is raving and some friends, yeah. See, if I moved abroad, it would definitely be to an English-speaking country. Unless I learned the language of another nation. I don't think... I wouldn't really feel right moving somewhere and not learning the language, personally. I'm not saying you've done that, by the way. But I'm just saying from my perspective. If I were to move abroad, I would definitely favour like an English-speaking country. Because, yeah, like I said, I would feel bad. If I moved somewhere and I couldn't speak the lingo, I'd feel bad about it. I'd feel bad about it. And it isolates you as well. Heavyweight boxing's landscape basically consists of Usyk, AJ, and Dave Allen. It's like these three are the three levels of a division. Where one of those guys is who you should try and fight. Yeah, basically. Yeah, exactly, bro. Can you imagine just collecting the eggs every morning? That'd be sick, man. That'd be sick. I've gone into precious metals in the last year or so, and that's become an excellent return on the investments. Yeah, I mean, palladium, right after the Ukraine war kicked off, like, took a massive increase. Yeah, okay, so you have to give them your ID because they do the digital identity thing. But that makes it more secure. They put the first credit union into stablecoins. Okay. It makes sense. It makes sense. If you decide to learn a language, your main goal is to learn 500 to 1,000 of the most commonly used words. It's helped me a lot and boost your confidence in learning, yeah. If I were to learn any language, it would be Spanish. Just because it's the most useful. It would open your doors up to a lot of countries. Spanish, I think, would be the best language to learn. I would learn Spanish because there's a lot of like Latin America and South America I'd like to see. Like, I'd really like to check out El Salvador right now, honestly. Yeah, so many countries speak Spanish, yeah, and French also. Portuguese to a lesser degree as well. But yeah, I think Spanish would be very useful to learn. Because not only does it open the doors to where you can go and actually mingle, but even career-wise, it opens doors. I want to learn Mandarin to be able to communicate with our new overlords in the future. Could be a great idea. Yeah, that's true. That's true as well, Nora. That's true as well. Bro, have you seen El Salvador now? It's got a murder rate of like 1 in 100,000 because of Nayib Bukele. He's like turned that country around in very quick time. Like, he's done a great job out there. He's done a great job. How sustainable it is, we shall see, but, you know, he can keep on running now. People love him out there. Goes to show, man, like, you know, countries can be turned around with drastic action. Bite-Size Boxing. My best mate just left to go to Mexico and he's loving life out there. He learnt Spanish and he's transferred an English wage out there. That's great, man. Yeah, that is true as well, Nordic. But he's put so many motherfuckers in jail. Like, so many people in jail. Like, none of this mollycoddling criminals or hugs not bullets. Like, you got gang tattoos, you're going to jail. Like, extreme problems require extreme solutions, and he's basically done that. He's basically done that, you know. None of this catering to criminals and worrying about their human rights. Just send these motherfuckers to jail. Let them rot. And that's basically what he's done. That's basically what he's done. And as a result, everything's got better. More tourism, more investment, economy's getting better. Who would have thought, right? But yeah, that guy to me is more impressive than a lot of people like the Argentinian dude, Milei. But I find Bukele more impressive because for me, he represents that. When people talk about politics or when politicians talk about how they're doing, the only thing they mention is GDP. GDP, GDP, GDP. Like it's the only measure of how successful a certain place is, how safe a certain place is, how the people are feeling in a certain area. That's so lazy. So lazy. There are things that go beyond GDP. And Bukele, to me, kind of represents that. And because he's tackled the major issues with security and crime, you know, naturally everything else starts to improve. But yeah, he's what I want basically. If I was like the fucking leader of the UK, that's the model I would look at. Yeah, the stats indicate that the more authoritarian the nation, the better the security. Yeah. Listen, you're not going to get robbed in Saudi Arabia. You know what I mean? You're not going to get robbed in Saudi. Yeah, governments who are tough on crime make the country a lot better, would have thought, yeah. 100%. 100%. And I'm not even saying, listen, there are other ways you can tackle crime as well, you know, but ultimately, like, violent degenerates need to be off our streets. Simple as that. Yeah, they're the worst types of politicians. They think that they think that success is purely measured on GDP, when that's very easily manipulated, you know. Yeah, see you later, Owen. Have a good one, mate. Have a good one. Learn Hebrew. Nah, I'm all right. I'm all right. I think I'd learn Spanish. Honestly, Spanish because, like I said, it's the most useful, I think. Or Russian because it just sounds fucking cool. The Russian language just sounds fucking cool. I don't know how useful it really is, but it sounds great. It sounds great. It's one of the I think it's one of the nicest sounding languages personally. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, things haven't got bad enough in the UK for people to actually want drastic change. Even though the country's on its arse, there are still too many middle class types who are decadent enough not to care. And that's the thing about apathy, isn't it? You know, there's always been talk of class in this country, but, you know, the class structure in the UK is real, but I feel like a lot of working class people are duped into, you know, looking at the billionaires and, you know, they got to pay their fair share. And that's true, I get it. But the middle class are the working class's main enemy, in my opinion. Always have been. Because they are basically the gatekeepers of the establishment. Like when a working class person, let's say on social media, says something that is blown up by the media, it's the middle class types who really run with a narrative. Oh, this person's an extremist. You know, this person's terrible. Cancel them. Ruin their lives. It's the middle class people who push these, who are the vehicle for these narratives. The middle class are, to me, are a bigger enemy, a bigger problem than the upper classes. Or as big. Let me say as big. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, Mexico's becoming like the UK then. That's mad. Mexican president banning politically controversial memes. I know yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, bro, it looks so hard to learn though. Like, I feel like if you learn Russian and you speak it like fluently, that's crazily impressive. Yeah, I've still got the True Crime channel. Yeah, if I spoke Russian, you would assume I'm a KGB spy or something. Yeah, true. But no, the language sounds so cool. It sounds so good. Yeah, definitely Nordic, 100%. Like, the digital ID is obviously the latest thing that's been pushed. But this is not the first time this has been mooted, right? I remember back in the day under Tony Blair, they was talking about digital ID all the way back then. This is just another Blairite policy. Because basically everyone since Blair has been a Blairite to varying degrees. And whether it gets through this time, who knows? Who knows? It's going to be a hell of a test, though. Let me tell you that. It's going to be a hell of a test. And it should be motivation for us as well. Stephen Marshall, the Jigsaw Killer. Very good friend. Are you serious, Linear North? I don't even know who Stephen Marshall is. Unless I do. The name doesn't ring a bell. Stephen Marshall. Okay, no, he's from America. Okay. I don't know who this guy is. From Massachusetts. Or died in Massachusetts, okay. No, I've never heard of him, bro. I've not even heard of him, Linear North. Who's considered middle class? To generalize, the vast majority of, if we're talking about voters, the likes of like the Lib Dem voters, Jeremy Corbynites, Green Party people, those individuals. We know what middle class is, man. They have enough in which they're scared to lose. I mean, again, if you want to get technical, like for me, definitions of middle class they're obviously very different, depending on who you ask. But I think if you grew up in a family who even owned their own home, to me that's middle class. If your family owned their own home, to me that's middle class, personally. If you're asking me what I consider middle class, depending on area, but like anywhere down south, if your parents owned their home, you're middle class. Maybe they weren't middle class, but you grew up middle class. Maybe that's extreme, but that's how I've always considered it. Did Bomber Bell you really think he was going to beat Usyk? Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. And to be fair to him, he didn't do terribly. I think it's overblown on how well he did, but he did okay. He did okay. He proved in that fight he was at a certain level. Bellew's one of those figures who I really don't like. But I will admit, I probably disliked him so much that I kind of underrated his skill. He was a good fighter, Bellew. He should have always been at cruiserweight, honestly. He should have always been at cruiserweight. Yeah, this is my experience as well. Again, we are generalizing, there are some great middle class people, obviously, right? We're generalizing. We're being very, I guess, collectivist. But yeah, you're spot on. I grew up around middle class people, and the contempt they have for working class people is repugnant. They hate the native working class more than anyone else by far. Yeah, that's like my general experience. That's my general experience. Again, not all of them. Again, I am being very generalizing. I get it, but you know. Yeah, if you grew up with Sky, you were middle class. 100%. In my day, if you had Sky, you were middle class. Absolutely. That's a great fucking shout. If you're from my generation, if your parent had Sky, yeah, you're middle class. You're middle class. I think the US is probably different, sucker free. Honestly, I think the US is different. The whole class structure in the UK is, I think it's viewed a lot differently as it is compared to what it is in America. And by the way, I'm not saying my own group, the working class, are perfect, because clearly not. Clearly not. Yeah, 100% Harrods, yeah, 100%. Yeah, a lot of working class people let their environment kind of shape their personality to a degree, in a negative way. You know, you can still have a good vernacular and be working class. You can still be thoughtful with how you speak and be working class. And listen, I spout off at the mouth sometimes, but listen, in the right circumstances, I can be more eloquent. I'm not an eloquent person, so to speak, but I can be more eloquent. I can talk a certain way, blah 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 blah. We don't always have to be crude, rude, and obnoxious, you know. But that's one of the things when you actually speak with a little bit more pizzazz. People automatically assume that, oh, you're from a upper class background or whatever. That shouldn't annoy me, but it does. It shouldn't annoy me, but it does. When I'm in a setting and I speak, when I make a conscious effort to speak better, and people assume that, yeah, you're from maybe just a middle class background, that annoys me. It shouldn't annoy me, but it does. Because I had that a lot on the other channel. And even with this channel as well, on regular videos. And it always boils my piss for some reason. I should be more mature than that, right? And not get annoyed by it. But I do, for whatever reason. I don't know why. Australia's got a massive housing crisis. So here you have a house, now you're upper class. Yeah, fact. It's becoming that way in the UK, especially down south, honestly. It's becoming that way in the UK. But here's the other thing, there's culturally working class, and there's like fiscally working class. So maybe a lot of these people now, maybe you consider them fiscally working class now. They're not spiritually, they're not culturally, so they can go and fuck themselves as far as I'm concerned. You know? I'm joking, listen man, a lot of people are struggling, listen, a lot of people are struggling. I sound like a commie, don't I? I sound like a fucking commie. Jesus Christ. I should. I should very much try as well to cut out swearing. I used to swear in just about every single sentence, but now I do it rarely. Yeah, I listen in a casual setting. I swear far too much, even with my friends or like just chatting shit here. There you go again. I will drop a swear word, but it's one of those things, man. I don't think I'll ever stamp it out. Well, I say that, I'm just using that as an excuse. I can, if I tried. No, we're not smoking anymore. We're on the fucking vape. There you go again. We're on the vapes. Well, yeah, listen, yeah, commies like to say how much they hate capitalism while being surrounded by disposable luxuries. Well, that's another thing as well I've noticed. I'm not sure whether it's the same in Scotland. I know we have the same culture, but there are differences. In the UK, I've noticed that people who are big advocates of like socialism and even communism, like finding a true communist believer in is hard, because I don't wander in those circles. Like I said, I come from a working class background, but that's my point. I don't think I've ever met a working class person who's actually been like an advocate of communism or even socialism. There are some quote unquote socialist elements that are good. Like I think free healthcare for citizens is good, but like I'm talking about like a full blown socialist. It's not really. It's not a working class movement. It's never really been like a authentic working class movement. Certainly not communism. I don't even know, mate. I don't even know what it is. I can't even tell you got no fans, which is probably a bad thing. Maybe what I'm putting into my system now is worse than cigarettes. We'll take the risk. We'll take the risk. But I do need to make an effort to stop that as well. But one thing at a time. Yeah, imagine being a commie and having a smartphone, a car, a TV, a radio, laptop, tablet, house, numerous useless crap made by corporations they don't need, and a lot of savings in the bank. Yeah, facts. Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's true, Nordic. That is true. Do I think billionaires should exist? Yeah, why not? Why not? What becomes the magic number to where, oh, no person should earn that amount of money? What becomes that magic number and how do you justify taking it? And by the way, there's a massive issue with mega corporations like BlackRock. We don't really live in a. People say, "Oh, we're a communist country. We're a mega capitalist country." No, we really live in like corporate feudalism. Mega corporations are horrible. Like I said, BlackRock and Vanguard and Lockheed Martin, etc. But whatever. You wouldn't want to be a billionaire? Nah, a couple of million would do me good. Yeah, cartel capitalism, yeah. It's not a free market as such. So yeah, we don't even live in quote unquote a free market. So what would you call this system? I think corporate feudalism mixed with an undertone of cultural Marxism, I guess. I don't know what you'd call that. Neo Neo feudalism. I don't know what you'd call it. I mean, define the 1% though. Like, if we're considering worldwide, are we the 1%? We're certainly like in the top 5%. But again, John, like I don't know where you're from. I'm from the UK. To me, class represents more than what you're earning. It's culture as well in the UK. And again, the media, like I said, mega corporations, huge problem, huge problem, huge problem. But for me, like, it's not an issue of it's not just about paying taxes. It's not just about paying your fair share. It's the narratives these people push. It's what they enforce. You sound like you come from a specific spectrum on I might be totally wrong, but it sounds like you're on a certain place on the political spectrum. And if I'm right, let's say you're left leaning, that's who the mega corporations, by and large, support your side. The likes of BlackRock, etc. Alan Watt talked about a leisure class that's above the elites. Yeah. I think there are individual billionaires who just run companies, but there are also, like I say, like it's like the BlackRocks, etc., who are the ones who push narratives and force change and force the direction in which governments operate. You know, plus obviously you've got the whole weapons manufacturing industry. You know, we support both sides of conflicts, etc., etc. Yeah, just being on welfare in Australia puts you in the top 5% in the world, apparently. Yeah, that's crazy when you think about that. That's insane. That's actually insane. I'm not sure about the UK, but yeah, UK welfare for a lot of people is very good, and it gets abused. But again, I believe in a system where there's a safety net for people. But again, like, what if it goes too far? People just abuse it. People abuse it. Vampire reptilians, like David Icke type shit. Bruh. He's somebody I just. David Icke's entertaining, but like. And listen, he'll mix in truths in what he says, but overall, man, Christ. He's low key kind of hard to listen to, David Icke. Yeah, they're a very strange. They're not a mega corporation. They're not a company as such. That's crazy. I was renting my house and people had 2,100 universal credit asking to rent. That's mad. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's insane. Yeah, and it's a problem, right? It's for people who abuse it are like, yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. But yeah, the whole billionaire thing, I think, like I said, to John, I think was it John? Yeah, I think it was John, right? Yeah, to John's earlier point, listen, people should pay their fair share of tax. 100% agree. And overall, I'm very skeptical on most of these individuals, how they made their money, but I can't prove it in many instances. I don't support billionaires because they may be parroting some of the things that I believe in. Elon Musk is a great example. I think Elon Musk, he says things that I agree with, but do I trust the guy? No. In fact, I think he's very insidious. Because you look at Starlink, you look at Neuralink, he's essentially contributing to a possible global surveillance system. He's advocated for things like UBI, which is just going to totally strip us of our rights. I think like I said, he's a very insidious person. I think he's fooling a lot of people. He is the right wing's equivalent answer to Bill Gates. They all want digital surveillance. They all want a global ID system. They all want the same thing. They all sell it in different ways. But Elon Musk is exactly the same as Bill Gates. He's exactly the same. They'll go on a certain side and try and sell. They'll try and sell the right or the left, the agenda, and it will end up in the same place. Yeah, Musk is classic controlled opposition. Yeah, because he's really pushing for the same shit Bill Gates did when he was talking about vaccine passports and shit like that. It's all like global surveillance, digital ID, biometric passports. It's all the same shit. It's all the same shit. Plus the whole AI situation as well, which again is going to strangle jobs. It's going to destroy jobs. Going to put a lot of people out of work. UBI becomes more appealing to people. You know, they're all in the same boat, man. They're all in the same boat. They're all in the same boat. But I don't think that's a sustainable way of making the world a better place, John. Oh, who holds all the wealth? Just take it off them and redistribute it. That's not a healthy way to sustain the world. Because once it's taken, once it runs out, what then? That's not a healthy way to rebuild a society or to make a society better. And hypothetically, let's say, John, it is possible. So I become a billionaire, ethically. So I sell fucking... What's an ethical way to make money? Let's say I build electric cars. No, that's not even build electric cars, because of cobalt. I find a way to generate electricity at a ridiculously cheap rate. Just out of thin air. And I've not hurt anybody to make my money. I'm worth 10 billion. What justification do you have to take that money if I haven't actually subjected people to misery? Like fusion, yeah, exactly. Ethical, yeah. What happens if I win the lottery? I win the Euro Millions and I'm worth like 150 million. It just feels like such low-hanging fruit. Yeah, the world will be saved if we just tax billionaires. Complete and utter nonsense, in my opinion. Again, everybody should pay their fair share. 100% agree. But if you think that's going to fix the world, that's crazy. And the fact, by saying that de facto, you're saying you trust government to redistribute it. If you think that, you are insane. De facto, that's your position. And the fact that you hold the state above individual billionaires, I think is actually even more terrifying, considering the nature of power. I think that's an even worse worldview, to be honest with you. The fact that you would trust the state over an individual billionaire, that's crazy. That's crazy. So you must have total faith in government, which is fine. Which is fine. But human nature is real. That's why billionaires exist, bro. Human nature is real. Yeah, exactly that as well. Exactly that as well. I think what you're saying is very much black and white. To think that you can literally solve the world's problems just by taxing billionaires, I think that's pretty black and white. I wish it was that simple, man. We're cooked, man. We're just cooked. We're cooked. We might be cooked. We might be cooked. We could be cooked. And there is this as well. Like, let's say, like I say, you become like wealthy by quote unquote ethical means. Like, what's the like again? What is the moral justification for taxing that person more? Like, genuinely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in America, for example, pay your fair share is big, but nobody mentions what the taxes of billionaires and common folk are being spent on, which is definitely not its own people. 100%, yeah. 100%. Like, we've got the highest tax burden since World War II in this country. And I don't see public services getting any better. I don't see the roads getting better. I don't see national security getting better. I don't see people's day-to-day lives getting better. Yeah, exactly. They'll just move to a more friendly country, 100%. Yeah, the agenda of the elites goes beyond capital gain. Yeah, and that's my I think that's my main issue with the whole like just if we tax billionaires, the world will be saved. I think that's the issue. I think that's my issue with it. But who knows, man? Who knows how things will pan out in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Who knows? Yeah, generic tax like we have now means no accountability. There's no transparency on where our money actually goes, which is why it's just legalized extortion. 100%. So I agree with you here, John. That's where I agree with you on, mate. Listen, agree to disagree on things, man. But yeah, nobody like insult John or whatever. And I probably got heated a little bit, but yeah, no, is what it is. But yeah, I agree. But I see the whole culture war thing really. The whole culture war thing's been terrible because both sides now are just accepting what their side is selling them. Honestly, like even though their best interests are not being met. And I see that on the right. I'm more naturally right-brained, obviously, than I am left. Way more. But I look at figures like I say, Elon Musk's a great example. Just selling shit that if it came from the other perspective, people would reject outright. You know? But it's people are so it's so partisan now. It's so partisan. And I think, yeah, I don't know. You're moving all of your money out of the UK now due to tax. So you get tax is not really like I don't mind. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't be upset about paying tax as such if I felt I was getting a good deal, a good value for my money as such. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Listen, we're all fucking peons in the system. Regardless of where we stand, listen, I hope it gets better for all of us. I hope it gets better for all of us. And elsewhere after that as well. But ultimately, listen, we might be in for some rocky times ahead. We could be in for some rocky times. Maybe it's always been this way, but like again, when I was young, I don't remember this sort of atmosphere or energy around the country. I don't remember it. Maybe I was just too young, but there's just something in the air that's you can't, you just can't ignore. But yeah, no worries, John, man. No worries. But yeah, the whole politics thing, man, just seems like a never-ending cesspool cycle of shit. Maybe maybe things will rear their ugly head sooner rather than later. I don't know. Hopefully not. Like I said, hopefully we can regain some stability, common sense. But do I expect it to happen? Not really. Leftism is gay. Well, back in the day, like in like the early 20th century, like for example, quote unquote leftists who voted for Labour in this country were genuine working class people. They were like fucking coal miners and shit. Actually, had testosterone. It's kind of the roles have kind of become reversed in regards to the left right paradigm. Leftism back then was, or quote unquote left wingers back then, are not what they are today, and vice versa. Right wingers are not what they were back then as they are today. It's been a culture shift. So like young men in particular are becoming more attracted to the right because culturally it's seen as the underdog. So, and men will always, a young man 9 times out of 10 is always going to want to fight on the side as they see are the underdogs kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's the left-right paradigm is what it is. The left-right paradigm is what it is. Yeah, I know who that guy is. I've seen his shorts, but that's about it. I think a lot of people are like that though. Like most people I grew up with, honestly. I mean, I was like apolitical. I would say in my late teens, early 20s, and I guess I am to the degree in which I don't believe in any political party. If that, you know what I mean. But I'm not in terms of like I guess just my worldviews. Maybe we should start a political party. I don't think we'll get very far. I don't think we'll get very far. Okay, so he was okay. Yeah, so he was on multiple TV shows back in the day. Okay, was a famous leftist activist and a good friend of and a protege of David Icke. Okay. Well, it's the same with Russell Brand, man, and this is the issue with like when you become so far entrenched in the whole culture war thing. Like you see obvious grifters. I hate the word grifter because it's used far too much. But somebody like that sounds like a grifter. Somebody like Russell Brand sounds like a grifter. Like Russell Brand was a staunch leftist for the longest, and all of a sudden, just a one like a he just totally changes. And I've got my suspicions why. I wonder whether it's because of these cases that he's known about obviously for many years, and maybe like he kind of he kind of just made the switch because it's more convenient. Like, oh, they're trying to shut me up. They're trying to shut me up. They're putting this lawfare on me. I don't know, man. Yeah, he's a grifter, but he's our grifter. Yeah, this is the fucking mindset. This is the mindset, see, Delta. And that's what I'm saying about Elon Musk. Like, how quote-unquote right-wingers support this guy is crazy. Crazy. He's a transhumanist. He's a transhumanist. I don't even like the word conservative anymore. Oh, I'm a traditional conservative. You can only conserve what's already here. You can't conserve something that is gone. So, conservative, if you look, that word doesn't make sense. So if you're a conservative by the truest definition, you just want to keep what there is now, which is trash. We should call ourselves reductionists, reversists. Call ourselves reversists. Maybe I'm autistic though, because I will look at, I'll kind of take words for their literal definition. I could be an autist. I could be an autist. I think Boots wins, bro. I've seen that Lima kid fight. He fought, what's his name? McKenna, one of the McKenna kids, the good McKenna. I think it's Aaron McKenna. And he looked quite tough and durable. And he gave McKenna a couple of moments here and there. But he's nothing special. Boots should beat him, honestly. But I don't think that's necessarily. I'm not. As I said, I'm not an Elon Musk fan by any means. I think he's insidious. But you could be a migrant and still talk negatively about immigration. That's not a hypocritical standpoint. If you're an immigrant, you learned the language of that country. You moved to that country. You've always had a job. You've always paid tax. You've always contributed. Why wouldn't you moan about somebody who's coming in illegally, for example? Or coming in and not contributing? That's not a hypocrisy at all. I agree. Again, I totally agree. But do you think there's a way of voting our way out of this, John? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced, bro. Yeah, I think Boots is going to be way too much. Honestly. I think this is what it is. It's a mark time fight. It's an introduction to 154. I don't think he's going to really pose any major threats as such. But who knows? Maybe he's got better since the McKenna fight. That's possible, but yeah, exactly. Like the whole petition, the petition bullshit is absolute nonsense. Look at, like you say, like with the digital ID, like I think way over 2 million people signed that, and that's not going to go anywhere. That's not going to go anywhere. Democracy's real, though, guys. Democracy's real, apparently. Yeah, Russell Brand and Charlie Veitch's changes in political ideology are two of the most sudden and suspicious turnarounds you will ever see. Yeah, 100%. Again, I obviously know more about Russell Brand than I do of Charlie Veitch, or Vitch, I don't know how to say his name even. But yeah, the Brand one always struck me as very odd. Very odd. And there are people who do that as well, just purely for profit as well, like an Andrew Tate. I don't think Andrew Tate is like a political person, but he kind of just leans into different trends, There are those people as well. And then there are just like pure paid, not paid actors, but controlled opposition, I guess you'd say. But yeah, all UK parties need to go. I can agree with that. I can agree. But again, I'm not convinced there's any voting our way out of it, unfortunately. I'd like to think there is, but listen. So I'd have to research this Charlie Vaich guy. I'd have to research this guy and look into him because I never knew. All I've seen is basically shorts online of him trolling people. Is basically all I've seen. Yeah, it makes no sense, Nordic. Honestly, it makes no sense. The problem in the UK, Reform UK are just containment. Turquoise old school conservative, but they're a step in the right direction until someone more based comes along. Yeah, you have more faith than I do, Wayne. You got more faith than I do. Yeah, I've seen the bodyguard. His bodyguard fucking laid somebody out one time. I swear he landed like a something crazy, like a fucking spinning elbow or something. That's crazy, yeah. But yeah, you need a bodyguard like that. You need a bodyguard like this Fred dude. Yeah, the elbow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The elbow is what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah. That's crazy. It looks so smooth though. When I first watched it, I had to like rewatch it because it looked choreographed. It was so smooth. And I do wonder like that's got to be fake. I do still look at that clip and I half think it's fake. Like the guy was an actor who he did it to. It looked so smooth. It looked so unbelievably smooth, like a movie set fucking scene. It's crazy. Like I'm still leaning towards like that was possibly fake. Honestly, he's Muay Thai. Okay. Yeah, it just looked so fucking smooth. Like imagine you could do that shit, man. I can throw a right hand. That's about it. You know what I mean? Muay Thai seems like a really valuable martial art to learn, man. Honestly, I did like 2 sessions of Muay Thai way back when, and fuck me, that's hard. And I didn't even spar. I did very light sparring with like, all like the knee pads and shit on. Bro, I just don't have the dexterity to like kick like that. I can kick like low kicks, obviously, but like anything above low kick, I just really struggle with balance and shit. It's just my body's just not tuned in for it, honestly. Yeah, that's true. Kicking in street fights could be very dangerous. Like you say, tight jeans could restrict you. You could be on grass, for example. Um, you could be in a very tight space. Like kicking in a street fight's not a great idea, honestly. Unless it's like a pure one-on-one situation, it's on concrete. You know your levels above this guy. It could work, but I don't think it's very versatile. I like Masvidal's um, thing. He was talking about like what martial art is best for self defense, and he said boxing. And he's obviously a UFC guy, but he was saying the best self defense is a right hand and a 100-yard dash, basically, which is true. Like honestly, you need to get yourself out of a situation more than anything. But if you can't, strike and go. That's the best way, honestly. Stay on your feet, strike and go. Obviously, is the best way. Like wrestling in certain situations is amazing. If you can wrestle and the other guy can't, he's fucked. But what happens if he has a knife? What happens if he's got a friend? You're fucked. You know, wrestling is perfect in perfect situations. Boxing is more versatile. Boxing is more versatile. Kicking's more effective if you're taller. Every fight I've had in recent years, I've been much shorter. Yeah, yeah, especially if you're like throwing like regular front kicks, that makes sense. Like front kicks would be a good way, I guess, of like maintaining range almost. Like it seems like a really effective way of like maintaining range against somebody. But again, if he grabs your leg or something, like it's risky as fuck. It's risky as hell. Thoughts on Nigel Farage? Know only a bit from a US perspective. Two milk toast is how I would summarize him. Don't trust him at all. Basically, to put it in short, if I was forced at gunpoint to vote, I'd vote for him, but that's it. I don't trust him. Don't put any faith in him at all. I'd only vote for him if I was like forced at gunpoint. Yeah, C Delta. Yeah, I have. Yeah. I'm already looking more toned. I've got that slim, kind of more athletic look coming back. Again, I'm not somebody who wants to get jacked or anything. I just want to get in better shape, you know? That was a great fight. I remember that fight happening, Arnold. I remember that fight happening, Gaethje versus Johnson. That was a great fight. Good knockout at the end as well. Because Gaethje was rocked, wasn't he? Then he knocked out Johnson. It was a really good fight. So I like MMA to a degree. I do like MMA to a degree. MMA, when it's on the feet and both guys are going for it, can be really, really fun, man. Honestly, can be really, really fun. Like a really good MMA fight is as good as a really good boxing match, in my opinion. But I just feel like overall, I much prefer boxing. But again, if I had more time, I would definitely be a lot more into MMA than I am. If I just had free time all the time, I would be a lot more into MMA. But I just don't have time, and I prioritize boxing in regards to combat sports. And I would like kickboxing. I would like Muay Thai. Anything striking, I'd like. Bare knuckle. Listen, the James DeGale fight the other day was terrible, but the undercard was really fun. Really, really fun. Saw some nasty knockouts, blood and guts. It was really fun. Like bare knuckle for me again, I could get behind it if I had time. I saw the fight last weekend as well with Mike Perry and Jeremy Stevens. Brutal. It's great to watch. Really, really good to watch, man. And people say those guys don't have skill. Like, come on, man. And those guys, listen, those guys, even if you think they're quote unquote unskilled, they have tremendous amount of balls to do that. Tremendous amount of balls. Like I could see myself doing like a white collar fight or whatever. And even let's say, because of my other channel, let's say a fucking organisation offered me a quote unquote influencer fight, I'd probably take it. But I can't imagine how much money I'd want to do a bare knuckle fight. I can't imagine how much money I'd want. Those guys, listen, those guys are very impressive who do bare knuckle, in my opinion. I think they're very impressive. Steady on Nordic. I'm not, bro. I'm about 170-ish, maybe. I'm a light heavyweight, bro. I could get down to 160, I guess. I don't even know how much I weigh right now. I'd say about 170, 168-ish. In and around that area. But how much money would you need to do a bare knuckle fight, man? Bruh. Not gonna lie, they are unskilled. Perry got smoked by Jake Paul, but that's a different sport, bro. It's a different sport. Technique is totally different. Punch technique is different. The clinch game is different. It's a different sport. Defense is different. Parrying's a lot more important. Your guard is a lot more important. Like, it's a different sport, man. It's a different sport, and it's so hard to train for because you can't spar bare knuckle. Bro, I respect those guys, low key. Like, I respect those guys a lot. And whatever they're getting paid, man, and it's not enough. Crazy, crazy what they do. Like, what do you again? Even if listen, man, yeah, fair enough. Elite level boxers, more skilled. I get it. Whatever. I'd say there's more skill involved. I'd say you can get a lot further in bare knuckle right now with pure toughness than you can in boxing. But bare knuckle clearly takes more balls to do. So I almost I do respect bare knuckle fighters more, I think, than like a regular boxer. 100%. And I think it's a good thing that it's becoming a legitimate sport, personally. I think it's a good thing. A YTBC boxing event would be far too real and not lucrative enough. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah. Nobody would. Yeah, it would be big within our little corner of the internet. But yeah, there would be no money in it. There'd be no money in it. That's the thing. There'd be no money in it. Unless you had like some random wealthy benefactor who watched like YTBC channels, like some like Turkey Al Sheikh of the YTBC world. If we had him, then yeah, maybe it could happen. Maybe it could happen. Can you imagine there's like a random rich Arab out there just watching YTBC videos? And he says, that's a great idea. He's watching this stream right now, and he says, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's get a YTBC fight league. And you see all the personalities from the YTBC fight each other. Can you imagine? If I did do something like that, though, low key, I wouldn't give away anything. Like, I wouldn't fight anybody who was heavier than me. I wouldn't give away any advantages like that at all. No way. They give you just enough money to cover hospital bills. I think if I were to do something like that in all seriousness, I'd probably want about 10k. I think that would be enough for me. To actually like train and take it seriously. Like if Misfits came and said, oh, you're deep on an undercard. We need some more talent. 10k would be enough, I think. Honestly. Because it's enough money to kind of, yeah, let's say, fuck it, let's go for it. Any thoughts on who you'd take on? It's hard to say because I don't really know how big fucking people are on here. What weights they are. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I'm about 170-ish now, but I don't know. I've not weighed myself in a long, long time. So I don't know what I am right now. But because I'm like 6'1", I could try and boil down to like 154 and just weight bully people. That's what I should do. Just boil down some long ass reach and just weight bully. Fight like some 5'5" guy, 5'6". Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he does sound like he's got money. Yeah, he kind of came out of nowhere, Boxing King Media. Wasn't he a cop or something? He was a police officer, I believe. That guy. Very weird background. Kind of a weird career change, isn't it? Yeah, bare knuckle just makes you appreciate and think how crazy boxing over a century ago was. Those days would have been absolutely brutal. Yeah, no protection, no well-being, no medical attention, nothing. Yeah, bro, crazy. YB's got that Doughboy belt. But yeah, I would, in all seriousness, if I did it though, like I would want to train a couple of weeks first to see how I felt, because I wouldn't go in just for money. If I felt like I I just couldn't perform like that, like I did when I actually took boxing somewhat seriously. I wouldn't do it. So Nordic, what would Nordic be around? What, light heavy cruiser? Nordic's gonna catch that shit on his gloves and he's gonna uncork that left hook, clean a couple of motherfuckers out. You can see Nordic walking someone down, like very selective with his punches, just soaking it up on the gloves and just uncorking a left hook, just cleaning some fucker out. Nordic's getting sparring in the fucking streets, mate. He's getting sparring in the streets. In the streets of fucking Scotland. You do, low-key, when I've watched your training clips, your guard and your kind of like your stature, how you carry yourself, your build is low-key like Arthur Abraham. It looks like you can take a shot. Like I feel like you're that type of person. Like you could take a shot. You got that kind of build. It just looks like you can take a punch. Hang on, I'm going for a piss quick. 1 second. I'd pay to see the YouTube channels go at it. So would I, man. I would as well, even if I wasn't involved. I'd like to be the scumbag promoter. I'd like to be the scumbag promoter. I walk in with a champion, walk out with a champion. I'd be Eddie Hearn. I'd be Eddie Hearn. That's who I'd be. Apples and pears. I guess, yeah, if you punched somebody hard enough in the heart, they probably would collapse. Sitting ringside in a pimp coat with all the hose. Bro, I'd like to be the promoter. I don't think I could do it, though. I'm not that type of guy. I'm not a salesman like that. I'm not a salesman. I'd be gad. Fuck me. You're too old now to do sparring anyway. I only got in a fight once because somebody called me a nonce and it got me angry. Is that actually true? The way you told that just made me laugh. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's not a good thing to be called. That's not a good thing to be called. Now I feel like I'd rather be a manager, honestly. I'd rather be a manager than a promoter. I'd be Nordic's manager. That'd be hilarious, man. Can you imagine just one night only, like a fucking big old tear up, a big card of like YTBC quote unquote channels going at it? If I become a multi-millionaire, I'll put it on. I'll put it on. I'll promote it. I'll make that card happen. If I become a multi-millionaire, I'd do the purse structures like UFC. So you'd get paid to show up, and you'd also get paid to win. That's how I would do it. So you're going to get paid regardless, but if you win, you get paid more. And if you get a knockout, you get paid even more. That's how I would do it. I mean, it would have to be done by weight classes. It'd have to be done by weight classes. Exactly. Profiting from the industry while not taking a punch. Who wouldn't want that? Indeed. Indeed. But yeah, I think I would try and weight bully. I'd try and get down in weight, I think. Having said that, I've never done like a real weight cut, so that might fuck me up more than my opponent, to be honest with you. Maybe I'd go down to like nothing crazy, but I wonder if I could get down to 160. At 6'1". So I'd be like, I guess Jamal Charlo maybe, that sort of size. I guess, what is Charlo, like 6'1" maybe? I'd be about that size, with more reach. Yeah, I think Adam Azim more than likely will leave Ben Shalom. He's fighting on the Eubank undercard, I believe. Yeah, Adam Azim's fighting Zawa Abdullayev. If Abdullayev comes to fight, I actually think that's a good test, to be fair, for Azim. I think that's a decent test. This is a great question. Night of the Living Dead was one of the first horror movies I watched as a kid. Because my dad had like this old collection of like VHS horrors, and I was always into the covers and shit when I was a kid. Anyway, the first horror movie I watched, I don't know, I was very young, I was like 6 years old, was Night of the Living Dead. To answer your question, would I stay upstairs or in the basement? Okay, this is what I would do. If I was in that situation, I would go upstairs. So we get to the house, we board all the downstairs up. What I would do though prior, I would make sure to get a ladder, take it upstairs. So if we had to ditch, we had to bail, we could use the ladder to get out. I would go upstairs. Because if you're downstairs, there's no way you can get out. If you're upstairs, there's a chance you can get out. Maybe there's so many zombies outside you're fucked anyway. But there's at least a chance you can get out if you're upstairs. Just take a ladder up. Boom. Yeah, I would stay upstairs. I would go upstairs just because there's a possible way out. If they get in the basement, you're fucked. You're fucked. I thought about this sort of shit all the time, bro. Like, what would I do in a zombie apocalypse? What would I do in a zombie apocalypse? But yeah, I would go upstairs in a Night of the Living Dead situation. And those zombies are so slow anyway. You're better off going upstairs, finding a ladder, taking it up there. And if they start to smash down the door, smash out the windows, take the ladder, get out. Boom. That's what I would do. Bro, can you imagine though in real life, like how long we would last or wouldn't last? If it's a zombie apocalypse IRL, I would get out of the town I'm in, and obviously I'd imagine that's going to have to be on foot because I would say immediately the roads are going to get blocked up by abandoned cars. Take a rucksack. I'm assuming, let's just assume I'm the only one, there's nobody else I know around, everyone's succumbed to the zombie virus. Take a rucksack with basic fucking supplies, lighter, knife, some food. I would walk out to the country, find an abandoned house, board it up, stay there for the first night, and essentially slowly transform that place into my base. And I would loot country properties, particularly farms, to try and find like shotguns. Finding guns in the UK is going to be mad hard, but if anywhere has them, it's going to be farmhouses. I would loot country farmhouses. I would actually prioritize equipment over food to begin with. I would make sure I've got enough food to get through like the initial days, the initial weeks. But I would really prioritize equipment over food to begin with. So trying to find a gun if possible. Finding things like fishing rods, general tools like axes, saws, etc. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. If it's the 28 days zombies, I might just curl up in a fucking cupboard, mate. Honestly. If it's the 28 days zombies, we're fucking cooked. We're cooked. We're cooked. 28 Day Zombies, I feel, would be fucking terrifying, honestly. I'd go full on Ruth Korean in a zombie apocalypse. Bro, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That'd be a good idea. But again, it's getting off the roof if you need to. That's going to be the issue. So you don't really want to go to a place where there's no way out. That'd be the main thing. You need to find a place where there's potential exits that are not easily accessible as entry points. Is what you've got to work out. So yeah, you'd need to do something up like a property. You need to find a property that's isolated and try to make it secure more than anything, and go from there. I think that'd be your main priority. You know one of the most scary things as well? Like if it's just like regular zombies, they're dangerous, but they're not like a death sentence. Let's say it's done by like a virus. It's not done by like zombie bites or anything like that. Let's say you just happen to be immune, and there's like a small percentage of people who are immune. Other people are going to be your biggest threat, more so than anything, I would imagine. Other people would be your biggest threat. That'd be more terrifying than the zombies the longer it went on. Because if you survived for a long period of time and you see another survivor, you know they've been through shit and they're going to be willing to do a lot of shit to either take your shit or, to stop you taking their shit. I'd like to think, though, I would survive a little bit anyway. But who knows in reality? Maybe the fear would take hold to the point to where we freeze and we wouldn't act rationally. But who knows? See, that's one thing I'd love to do. Like, if there was like 1,000,000% realistic VR of what would happen in a zombie apocalypse, and you only get one life, I'd love to see how long I would last. I'd probably die in some bullshit way, though. I'd die in some bullshit way. Like, I'd stand on a nail or something and get, like, tetanus and die. I'd die in some nonsense way. But the thing is, though, like, in a real, like, apocalypse situation, I've said this on Twitch when we've been playing DayZ. The thing you've got to think of, like, everything becomes a death sentence. Like, if you break your leg now, it's a fucking massive inconvenience. It's not a death sentence. If you broke your leg in the apocalypse, you are dead. Like, there are so many more ways to die. Or there are so many more ways that lead to death in that situation. That's the thing you've got to worry about as well. Like, you roll your ankle, you dislocate your ankle, you're cooked. Imagine that. Like, surviving for like 5 years in the apocalypse. You got some fucking sick-ass beard, you look like a warlord. You've got a little group going. You're the leader. And you die by, like, breaking your ankle or some bullshit like that. That'd be the challenging thing as well. Everything becomes a threat. Like, your environment, the zombies, other humans. Everything is a threat and a risk of death. Every time you fucking left your little vicinity. That's crazy. But yeah, I would love a realistic, like 100% realistic simulation of what it would be like. And you only get one life in that simulation. And you can never play it again after. That'd be so fucking sick. You'd die from eating cat food. I don't know how long cat food would sustain you, honestly. But yeah, you would have to like get gear like fishing gear and things like that. Honestly, what would be a good idea is to migrate to the coast. Is to get to the coast, honestly. If you could get to the coast, it's a great shout because of obviously food is going to be so much more plentiful. Yeah, running water's the most important thing. Weapons is second. Food will become important down the line. Yeah, because initially you can probably get together some food quite easily. But, that's only going to last so long. In the long term, you got to think about food. I think migrating to the coast over a long-term plan would be the best idea, honestly. I think getting to the coast would be the best idea. Head for the hills and mountains. Yeah, you got your running springs, that makes sense as well. But sea-wise, it's just a lot more plentiful in terms of food. Yeah, I'd probably die by something stupid like catching my knob on a rusty nail in the fence because I was sex deprived, despite being like Rambo up until that point. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Yeah, collect as much canned food as you can early on. Yeah, plant a garden somewhere fortified and secluded. Yeah, I always feel like the zombie genre is such a sick concept, but most media just does a bad job in regards to zombie movies and shit. Devolve and get back into the trees. That's a good idea. Build a fucking treehouse. Build a fortified treehouse. Build a fortified treehouse. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead was good, man. Yeah, Shaun of the Dead was funny as fuck. My favourite zombie movie though is Dawn of the Dead. The remake though, 2004. The one with Ving Rhames in it. That's a really good movie. It's a fun zombie movie. The only caveat I'd like to add, if a zombie apocalypse ever happens, I'd rather it start in summer. I'd rather it start in the summer. Because I would want time to prep for winter, honestly. You thought Dawn of the Dead was depressing? Do you mean in like do you mean in an effective way or just like depressing, like you just didn't like it? Because I've seen the original and the remake. I thought the remake was better personally. The flesh and heat smell would be horrible though. Yeah, that's true. No, it depends where you are though. If you're in a city, bro, in the summer and a zombie apocalypse happens, yeah, it's gonna be fucking awful. But if you're out in the country, it's not really gonna be much different to what it is now. Yeah, the ending is kind of yeah, the ending yeah. I know what you mean about the ending, yeah. They all died on the island, didn't they? Yeah. But also when the main guy died, when they sailed off because he got bit, didn't he? Yeah. But I think it's the best zombie movie personally for me anyway. Do you know? I'll tell you what. Another really good zombie movie, and it depends on whether you like subtitled movies. But a Spanish movie called Rec, REC, is such a good movie. It's a really really good movie. So they remade it in English, and it was called Quarantine. But you need to watch the Spanish version. It's called Rec, REC. It's a really, really good movie. It's one of the best. That might be my favourite zombie movie. Actually, is Rec. I would very much recommend it if you like. If you don't mind subtitled movies and you like horror, I would recommend Rec. It's a really good movie. Train to Busan, I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. The wedding one. No, I think the third one might have been the wedding one. I'm talking about the original. It's in the apartment primarily. It's in the apartment. It's set in the apartment. And I thought it was a really good movie, man. I haven't watched it for years. Mind you, I haven't watched it for years. And I did see the other Rex, the second and third ones. But I don't really remember much about them, so they obviously weren't as good. But the first one was really, really, really good. I thought so anyway. I thought so. Bro, it came out in 2007. That's crazy. But yeah, I've heard a lot about Train to Busan. I need to give that a watch at some point. Is that a foreign movie? Is that Asian? I might be totally wrong here, guys. I could be. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'll definitely give that a watch. So it's based in South Korea. Passengers struggle to survive on a train from Seoul to Busan. Okay, cool. I'll give that a watch. I'd give that a watch. No, but I wondered if it was like a Western take on like a zombie outbreak in Korea. That's what I wondered. I didn't know it was actually like made in Asia kind of thing. But yeah, I'd definitely give it a watch when I get time. That's another thing. I really don't remember the last time I watched a movie and sat down and watched a movie. I can't think of the last movie I watched that I hadn't seen previously anyway. I don't think I've watched a movie this year, 2025. I don't think I've seen a movie. I don't think. I can't remember. If I have, it's something I've already seen. I definitely haven't watched a new movie this year. That I can tell you. I can tell you that. I definitely haven't watched a new movie this year. I think maybe the last new movie I watched was like the last Halloween movie, Halloween Ends, which was rubbish. That was like 4 years ago, maybe. Yeah, honestly, in regards to horror movies, I feel like probably foreign movies are doing it better. They have been doing it better for a long time. Like there was a wave of like French horror movies. Um, some of which were like fucking super, super intense. Like Switchblade Romance was one. I think it was called Switchblade Romance. But one that fucking always stuck with me was a movie called Martyrs. It's gory as fuck, but it's got a lot of like religious connotations to it as well. It's a fucked up movie. It's a fucked up movie. Yeah, and now it's like Asian horror movies are really popular. I saw The Devil. It's not really a horror movie, I guess, but it's more of like a thriller, I'd say. But I Saw the Devil is a really, really good movie. Talk to Me is an Aussie horror film, and it's the best one I've seen in years. The only Australian horror movie I can recall is Wolf Creek. See, I'm not a massive fan of so the Conjuring type of movies. Like, I'm not a massive fan of those like ghosty, paranormal sort of movies. I'm not a massive fan of them. See, weirdly, like one of the in that genre, I know it's corny as fuck, but I always enjoyed the Blair Witch Project. Like the lore behind it and things like that. I thought they set it up really well. Obviously, it's dated as hell, but it kind of works still. It kind of works. But yeah, Martyrs is one of the more fucked up movies I've seen. That's a fucked up movie. It's one of those rare like movies that has like a lot of gore in it, but and it tries to say something, kinda. It's definitely messed up if you haven't seen it. It's not one of those movies I'd recommend as such. I don't think, unless you're like a horror person. If you're like just a movie person, I probably wouldn't recommend it. I'll be honest. But yeah, I need to explore more of these like South Korean and Japanese horror movies because horror for me in the West is just dead. It's like everything's a remake now, isn't it? Everything's a remake, and there's been a couple of decent remakes to be fair. Like Hills of Ice remake was good for what it was. It was pretty decent to be fair. Better than the original, certainly. Yeah, Wolf Creek is based on Ivan Milat. Yeah, you know his was it his nephew? His nephew killed as well. I think it was his nephew. But yeah, Ivan Milat is a terrifying serial killer. Yeah, the Outback Killer, right? But yeah, Western horror movies now, man, are dead. Like, there might be a few here and there that I don't know about, but overall, like, the mainstream horror scene is terrible, in my opinion. Like I said, everything pretty much is a remake, or just sequels. The other remake I did like, though, I can't lie, was the Texas Chainsaw remake, like from 2004, maybe? That I thought that was good. I thought that was good. I actually thought the remake of Texas Chainsaw was better than the original, to be honest with you. Like, I understand the original was, like, groundbreaking for its time, but it didn't age well. And it's one of those movies I kind of appreciated more than I necessarily liked. Whereas the Texas Chainsaw remake, I actually liked, to be honest with you. I think that was the best Leatherface version, to be honest. And Matey from Full Metal Jacket is in it as well, who's great. He's great in everything, man. Yeah, the Friday the 13th remake, yeah. So, as a kid, listen, Friday the 13th was a guilty pleasure of mine. I watched all the movies, every single one. And listen, I enjoyed all of them to varying degrees. Objectively, most are horrible movies, but they're just cheesy and fun. And I felt the same about the remake, the 2009 one. Yeah, I felt the same about that as well. It was a shit movie objectively, but it's just fun. And I want that. I listen. I like more serious horror movies, but I also like that cheesy slasher shit as well. Just fun. Just a fun movie, man. Just yeah, I will. I will try and look into it. It's on the bucket list, but yeah, the whole Gacy case is very interesting. Very interesting with his connections to Philip Paskey and Philip Pasky's connections to John David Norman, who was a basically Jeffrey Epstein of his time, who also had potential connections to the other serial killer in Texas, the Candyman, Dean Corll. Yeah, there's too many coincidences there for me personally, but there we go. Yeah, Hollywood horror movies are too predictable and stereotypical. I'll tell you what, do you know one modern series I like? And again, most of these series are fucking terrible objectively. Like, they're bad. They're bad movies objectively, but they're fun. If you've heard of the VHS franchise, they're bad. Most of the... so basically, they're like anthology movies. So there's like 4 short movies in one, basically, and it's horror. Most of the shorts are bad, but they're creative and they're fun, kind of thing. They're like the so bad they're funny almost. I like the VHS franchise. I really, really do. I really, really do. The VHS franchise, and the first couple of movies, the first couple of movies had some really, really good fucking segments as well, like genuinely good segments. Like, the first movie had the Batgirl, creepy as fuck, and the second movie had that cult section as well. That was fucking mad as well. Yeah, that was one of my favourite videos I did in recent times, bro. I want to get more into that sort of content, like... And I know that the approach I took in that video wasn't formulaic. I kind of like that schizo post approach. You know, just like kind of laying out the connections, and people can make of it what they will. My whole thing with that was, like, there's way too many coincidences with John Wayne Gacy and who he was connected to for him just to be a lone nut, in my opinion. I think there was a lot more at play there with John Wayne Gacy, personally. Again, the fact that he hired Philip Pasky, who murdered himself, as well as being connected to one of the biggest CP distributors in the USA at the time, and said CP distributor had some very interesting ties with Dean Corll, who also said to his victims that he was involved in snuff rings. It's just so many, like... There's so many weird coincidences. And listen, I would like to do more of, like, what I call, schizo posting content. I would like to do more. So there's the Beast of Belgium case, Marc Dutroux, which is a very interesting case. Again, allegations of snuff, trafficking, SRA, things like that. I'm sure most of you guys know of the Marc Dutroux case, but that one's kind of been done to death. Pardon the pun. Also, again, another weird one I'd like to get into would be Nazi leaders' ties to the occult. So, like the Fuel Society and things like that. Gnosticism. You know, the expeditions they went out on, whether it be to find the Ark of the Covenant, etc. Like, some of the occult, like, ties with the Nazi party, like the upper echelons of the Nazi party, for me, like, is really interesting. Himmler in particular was one of the ones who was, like, super into the occult, obviously. Hitler himself, I don't know how much he brought into it. And that's something I've randomly been thinking about recently. Hitler's weird because he's one of the most notable people in world history, but, like, I guess I'm interested in his religious slash spiritual beliefs or lack thereof. Because what little research I've done, I'm not really convinced he was convinced by the occult, but a lot of people around him were. Like, I'd say the safe bet, I'd probably say he was just like an agnostic, but that's my guess, or an atheist. A lot of people are very certain on Hitler, though. They, you know what I mean? But yeah, they was trying to find the Fountain of Youth, Ark of the Covenant, the quote unquote Spear of Destiny. You know, or you know, the Lance of Longinus. How would you say it? Yeah, the Vril Society. Yeah, exactly. There's 100% the Vril Society, the Fuel Society. Yeah, a lot of esoteric um, thinkers around Hitler. Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of like interested in. But you know, if you try and research that sort of thing, the sources are all over like all over the place. But yeah, that whole I feel like Hitler and like the upper echelons of the Nazis in general are some of the most covered individuals in human history. Yeah, I just feel there's still so many questions that we don't really know the answer to in regards to what they actually believed. Not so much in regards to policies, but in regards to, like I said, spiritual beliefs or esoteric beliefs or religious beliefs, that sort of thing. And I've always wondered like why that hasn't been more explored. I've always wondered, but yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Yeah, Lance of Longinus. I don't know how to say that. Yeah, bro. Richard Ramirez was like a meth head, bro. He was like a methed out tweaker. Yeah, and things like this, like the Antarctic expeditions, the expeditions to Finland, to India, I think as well, South America. Just looking for random artifacts, not only and they was doing this throughout many different ideologies and religions, just looking for artifacts of certain religions, um, looking into pagan and Norse mythology, all sorts of stuff. Look up the Atlantean conspiracy. I need yeah, bro. Antarctic conspiracies in general, bro. That shit is interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting. But don't you guys get that? Like, maybe I'm interested in history, but I've become a lot more interested in history as I've got older. When I was a kid, I didn't care for history, but as I've got older, I've just had this like thirst for history, but mainly 20th century history in Europe is my like interest, which makes sense. But I've always, yeah, I'm fascinated by that sort of thing. Honestly, I'm fascinated by it. And yeah, I would like to make a video on, I guess, like the occultic background of some of the Nazis, but I don't know how I would formulate it. Yeah, that video, I've heard that as well, Linear North. I think that's like the only video where you can hear the guy speaking normally and he's not like amped up. I think that's a big part of it as well, Kirsten. I think that's a big part of it as well, yeah. As I've aged, I've gained an interest in history as well as I've aged because you can see parallels to current day society. And that even makes me question, like, the validity of, like, quote unquote historians, because, like, you can be somebody who can memorize dates, you can memorize when certain battles commenced, what generals ordered said battles, who won, why they won, what that resulted in for both victors and losers. Like, you can remember all these stats and facts and figures and God knows what else. But are you really a historian if you can't take said lessons from history and then use those lessons as pattern recognition for today's society? Is history not then lost on you? Surely being a historian is more than just, like, remembering the technical details, if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. But what use is history when we just kind of, like, I feel like we just relegate it to textbooks and I don't know. Because I'm not necessarily, when I say I'm interested in history, that I think that's what our main interests are. It's not necessarily the facts and figures. Some people like that sort of thing, but I think a lot of it is the why and how, and we then try to apply that to modern day kind of thing. And we see whether we spot those same trends in today's society that we read about in historical events. See, the whole Bohemian, like, Grove thing, I've often wondered about that myself, and I think it's a rabbit hole that everybody goes down if you're interested in, like, if you're just, like, a curious person, right? I think everybody goes down the Bohemian Grove rabbit hole. I kind of think at this stage, in 2025, in modern day times, I kind of feel like Bohemian Grove is probably like a red herring at this point. I feel like maybe it was a real thing, like a proper real thing at some point in time. But once it got exposed, I kind of feel like it's just a red herring now. I very much doubt anything goes on there now, personally, because, you know what I mean? Everyone knows where the fuck it is. Yeah, Pol Pot is somebody that, yeah, and he doesn't really get spoken about in like modern day times. Listen, regardless of, like, listen, Alex Jones is right about some things. He's wrong about a lot as well, but he's great content. He's great content. Again, you wonder about Alex Jones though, like, do they feed these people, like, nuggets of truth? Are they aware of that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're, like, paid actors, like they know what they're doing as such. I just think they're controlled opposition to a degree. The Freemason rabbit hole does change perspectives. Do you know what? As crazy as it sounds, I've not really gone down that rabbit hole, and I don't know where to start. I wouldn't know where to start. That's the problem with a lot of these different topics is finding the starting point kind of thing, you know? Yeah. I know the details of it, Nordic. But what I'm saying is, I very much doubt they go there and do anything mad, nefarious now, just because it's so well known. I'm not saying they don't gather there. They do, but they will have other hidey holes and venues that they go to, in my opinion. And I think now they use it as like a crux to say, yeah, nothing actually goes on here. What are you talking about? You're just crazy conspiracy theorists. I just think it's just like a red herring now. Not saying it wasn't back then. I'm not saying it wasn't a nefarious place back then, but I don't think it is now. Not so much. I'll definitely read that, Nordic. All this shit is interesting to me, man. All this shit is interesting to me. Maybe I'm a fucking weirdo. I am to a degree, but I don't know, man. Again, we said this on a couple of streams ago. I think once your curiosity dies, I think that's when you're finished as a person, you know? Once your curiosity dies, I think that's when it's over. That's when it's over. So don't lose that. Don't lose that. But anyway, guys, I need to wrap this one up. I've been going on for way longer than I wanted to. Not that I didn't want to go on long, but you know what I mean. Than I intended to. I sound like I'm ungrateful. You know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. Um, yeah. Anyway, I might do a live commentary on Saturday for shits and giggles for the Dave Allen fight. Possibly. Don't hold me on it. Possibly. But yeah, I need to get to bed, guys. Metallicus. I've wrote it down, Kirsten, and thank you. Thanks for looking out. But yeah, we're going to wrap it here, guys. Have a great weekend if I don't speak to you. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.